Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the National Speed Skating Circuit. I'm Thomas Ford, NSC race analyst, joined today by none other than former Team USA member, one of the actually original NSC skaters, Josh Wood. Josh, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty well, man. I'm pumped to be here to be a part of the starter for Season 7. Really excited.
Well, I'll tell you what, Josh, we definitely have a lot of action coming up tonight. When you look at our format, this will be the first time we've ever had two grand champions in the same division.
That's
and then
right.
A returning grand champion on the female side. So when you look at the roster, it's pretty talented. Who are some of your favorites in the respective divisions?
Well, I mean, obviously the grand champion and the former grand champion, the returning grand champion, you got Brandon Hall and you've got Jared Paul. They're just amazing athletes. They call them Silky. They don't call them Silky for nothing, But, you can't sleep on guys like Mo Hall. Mo's a sneaky guy. The mama knows what he's doing. There's so many strong guys in Stelly. Stelly's a technician.
Sure, another former grand champ. Absolutely.
Exactly, another former grand champ. So I've got, you can look down the list and see all these names that, yeah, he's my favorite. And then the next guy below him is my favorite.
Absolutely.
So there's so many great athletes out there that you just don't know what's going to happen.
Well, there's a couple other guys that you're very familiar with, skated with most of your life. Talk about some of those older guys. Stephen Carter, Jeremy Anderson. Those are the type of guys that could definitely sneak up on somebody as well.
Exactly. Even, Stephen Carter and Jeremy Anderson are in their mid to late 30s, and they're still out there running those mid to low 43s and some high 42s.
Absolutely.
And they don't let these boys slouch at all. So the fact that you got these guys, the returning veterans that I've seen, that I looked up to, that are older than me, that are still out there just killing it and going as fast as these young bucks, it's just impressive.
It really is incredible watching some of these guys get after it. Now, on the ladies' side, obviously we've got Francesca Bell, who's a two-time grand champion a year ago. Erin Jackson is really on a hot streak after kind of the outdoor season out in Europe. But there's a couple of ladies that maybe they don't know about so much yet. I know one in particular, Cheyenne Moses. Cheyenne is one of our rookie skaters here in the league. She took a few years off, but easily one of the fastest starts in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got a lot of maybe not new to the NSC, but still younger skaters in the women's division. Women like Melissa Perry as well.
Sure.
Melissa's got a great set of laps in her. Being an endurance athlete, you still have to have a sprint. I was talking to actually the Black Mamba earlier today, and and we were talking about how everyone has to still be able to run those mid to low 8s for the guys and those high 8s and low 9s for the girls, but they have to go long enough to last to make those at the end.
You're exactly right.
So you have such a colorful and strong field out here that you really couldn't pick for sure who's going to win tonight. And that's the best part about speed skating, is you never know what's going to happen until the second it happens. Right,
and I know the athletes were testing out the conditions. It isn't exactly perfect conditions. It isn't, a Patterson's West type of floor. It is a little bit sketchy, if you will. And I think that is great for racing because, again, I think, like you said before and alluded to, the true racers have the advantage.
Absolutely. You've got the guys that are technicians, like physically or technically know how to skate very well, but the absolute racer was the one that always comes out on top. Anybody can learn technique of how to skate or physically prepare themselves, but it's that racer that can put both of those aspects together and be an aggressive athlete and take off when they need to, that's going to win the race every time.
Right, and I think, you and I talked about earlier this week, and it's sometimes got to be the guy or gal that is just flat out not afraid to throw that crazy late pass, in the last lap.
Absolutely. If they say in drag racing, it's you run what you brung. So you know what I mean. You leave it on the floor, and if that means you leave some skin as well, then that's what happens. So
absolutely, and I could certainly see in that be the case tonight. I think our athletes are all hungry, and everybody's looking for that big dollar purse tonight, and as well as the black suit. So we are about to get underway here, finishing up with our national anthem. But any words that you'd want to say for the folks at home watching?
Just be prepared, guys. Some of you guys have been following on Facebook and Instagram this leading up to this, and especially in the men's division, you be prepared for some serious stuff. There's a lot of egos on the floor, men and women both. Be prepared for some amazing athletes and some amazing racing.
There's no doubt that these guys want to win. We've got a nice crowd, over 400 people here already, and we're just beginning. Very, very exciting time for the National Speed Skating Circuit. A couple other things, when you guys look at the floor, we've got new uniforms.
Absolutely.
Now, you obviously are a huge part of bringing us these amazing, incredible uniforms. Talk to us a little bit about the company and about the technology that these guys are wearing tonight.
Okay. The clothes they're wearing, the suits they're wearing tonight are Euro Pro. I work for a company called Vi 13. They are owned and operated by ex-world champions and World Cup champions, Teresa, Cliff Ryan, and Gary Ryan. We produce suits primarily started in cycling to start, and because we all have started in inline, we came back to inline to give back to these athletes. These suits are wind tunnel tested of the best quality materials from Italy. They are wind tunnel tested. They are aerodynamically designed to put the skater in the perfect position. And the fabrics are laid a particular way to make the athlete as fast as possible.
Well, I know one thing when you were kind of describing how to actually put this suit on, this suit isn't built for comfort, is it?
No, it's definitely built for speed. You know, when you stand up, some of those cycling athletes you'll see in those time trial style suits, it's very similar. When you stand up, it's uncomfortable to stand up in. This suit is designed to be worn in the position that you're skating. This is not designed to be standing up and walking around. You have to over-exaggerate the way you put this thing on, and some athletes actually have had to have people help them put it on today. So it's really important that the suit is fit well because of its use.
Absolutely, and we'll talk plenty more about the suits, but we're going to bring you guys the format video so you guys at home that are first-time watchers or viewers can get a feel for what we're all about for tonight's event.
Here are the 5 things you need to know, brought to you by Bones Bearings.
The first thing you need to know in the NSC is how the race begins. Athletes are designated lanes. The first command is racers, take your mark. The second command is set. When the gun goes off, the race begins. If an athlete leaves before the sound of the gun, he's penalized a 1 meter disadvantage. 2 penalties equal to disqualification. After the race begins, athletes will race around a 100-meter oval marked by 4 cones. If at any point during the race a skate goes inside one of those marked cones, the athlete who committed the penalty will be disqualified for straddling. Because there's no designated lanes after the race begins, lots of contact can occur. To help ensure fair racing, several penalties apply. The first penalty is a ride-out. A ride-out is when an inside athlete passing doesn't get his hips all the way by and makes body contact with the outside athlete. The next penalty that helps ensure a fair race is the ride-in. The ride-in is when the inside athlete is passing and the outside athlete impedes on his track to make contact. The most important thing you need to know is how the skater wins the race. The first part of the skate that goes across the line is the winner, and you'll actually see athletes go down into a split position to try to win the race.
The quest for the black jersey, brought to you by Cato Modus.
Let's take a look at how this is going to go down. The league is broken up into 2 divisions. There's a sprint division and an endurance division. The champions of each respective division will then do battle at the end of the night in the Grand Champions event. First, let's talk about the sprint division. The sprinters will compete in both the 300 meter and 500 meter distance. So you better not blink and be ready for some crazy passes and a lot of acceleration when this crew hits the floor. Now on the other side of the coin we have the endurance athletes. The endurance racers will do battle in both the 1,000 and 1,600 meter events. In this group you'll see a lot more strategy with racers jockeying for position, but don't get it twisted because it's turn and burn time when these skaters try to break away from the pack towards the finish line. After the crew fights for their division crown, the top athletes will duke it out in the 100 meter time trial. This is a flying time trial where each athlete gets 1 lap to build their top speed and crank the fastest time humanly possible to stake their claim as the fastest person on skates. After the dust settles, we have the main event, the Grand Champions race. This is when we'll have the best from the sprint division meeting up with the top dogs of the endurance division as well as our wild card winner from our 100 meter time trial. The Grand Champion race will be a middle distance of 800 meters, right in the wheelhouse of both the sprinters and the endurance competitors. This is where it all goes down and a new Grand Champion is born.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back on air. We are getting ready for our women's 300 heats. And, you know, Josh, we talked about it, but this women's group really has stepped up their game. There is no doubt about it.
Absolutely. You know, you've got so many strong women here that are not just sprinters and not just endurance. These girls are so well-rounded. The fact that you've got, you know, Brittany Bowe came in at the end of last season and really shook things up in the last 2 years after making an Olympic team and after going and doing her Olympic dream. She came back and kind of reignited the fire for these women. You know, a lot of the girls were skating well and working hard, but to see something like that so close, that's what we were talking about, was that generational gap. You know, there's always a worry when you've got elite athletes like Joey Mantilla or Brittany Bowe or whoever it might be leaving the inline.
Right.
What's going to happen at Worlds?
Yeah, you go, who's next?
You know, exactly.
Yeah, who's next? Who's the next crop of skaters?
Absolutely. And, you know, Erin, you know, when Brittany and Erin made a couple world teams together, Erin's learned so much, and, you know, and she's developed so much as a skater in the last few years that now Francesca, even though she's just as strong as Erin or stronger or faster at times, there's still that generational gap that we're now going to be able to bridge.
Right. From
Brittany teaching Erin and Erin teaching Francesca, and it's just going to roll on from there. So it's exciting.
That is very exciting, and you know, you talk about that, those three skaters specifically all have done it at the world level outdoors, and to see them competing in the NSC tells you a lot about the league.
Absolutely.
It's important. It's
Yep.
something that everyone recognizes as a very high level of skating, and really in terms of indoor skating, it's the best. I mean, there isn't another avenue that does this the way NSC does, and I think it's been really, really incredible to see the ladies join the league.
Absolutely. You know, there was the thing about, oh yeah, you just don't want girls to race. Everyone was saying all, you know, thinking that we were just trying to keep the girls out. It wasn't that. It's just we were trying to, you know, you guys were trying to develop a program. Now that you have that program developed, including the women, was a no-brainer, and it's been a great thing for the league ever since. So yeah, it's incredible to see so many different athletes all at one time together. It's great.
Well, speaking of those ladies, here they come with heat number 1 of the women's 300-meter event. In lane number 1, we got Missy Perry from Dighton, Massachusetts. We've got Lonnie Nicole, stationed here out of Seattle, Washington, our California implant, but has made her roots here in Washington State. We've got Erin Jackson, and rounding out our field, we got Mackenzie Brown. So starting out the night with some fast racing already.
Ones. You know, even though we haven't mentioned her name, Mackenzie Brown is an incredible athlete. You know, she rides for Penn State Lehigh as a track cyclist. You know, she's an amazing athlete. She's really come into her own as an athlete in general, and a woman in the sport of cycling and inline. And she just came back from Germany a couple weeks ago, or a week or so ago, and the difference in the way she races and skates against those international women is amazing.
Absolutely. Well, Erin Jackson's going to come out in front and win that start. Missy Perry in that second spot. Mackenzie Brown in the third spot. As they cross the timeline, there's going to be 2 laps to go. Looks like Erin's going to go with the jam and run technique. Oh, looks like she had a little trouble holding. Missy Perry's going to take advantage. He'll go into that top spot now. As they hit the timeline, there's 1 lap to go. It's going to be Jackson, Perry, Brown, Nicole.
Yeah, don't sleep on Mackenzie. There she is right there at the end.
And unofficially moving on to the final, looks like it's going to be Erin Jackson, Missy Perry, and Mackenzie Brown.
Yep.
Well, early on, you see that the track was not holding as well as we've seen in the past. It looked like the ladies took that first lap and were not very comfortable.
Timid, yeah. They looked, you know, off the start, they looked like they built that first turn really well, but they all entered that first turn just a little timid. You know, arms out a little bit, preparing themselves for whatever could happen. And you know, great for Melissa Perry just to take advantage of a little slip on Erin Jackson.
Absolutely.
It can happen to anybody.
100%. It definitely can happen to the best of them. Well, heat number 2, we've got some of our young guns, 2 rookies in lane number 1, number 2. Shaina Moses rocking the number 24 from Auburn, Washington. Right next to her, Allie Fander from Puyallup, Washington. And lane number 3 from Cheyenne, Wyoming. Stationed out of Salt Lake City, Utah now, Brianna Bocox. And rounding out your field from Orlando, Florida, the grand champion, none other than Francesca Bell. Now watch for Cheyenne Moses. She is one of the most, and she has one of the most incredible starts of the women's division. Heck, I think she could beat a lot of our guys.
Absolutely.
We'll see if this second group has as much trouble in those corners as the first group. And as expected, Cheyenne Moses comes out of the gate. And here she goes. Oh, Cheyenne does not look quite as timid as that first group.
Yeah, she looks really, really good. That acceleration out of that turn was important, you know.
Absolutely.
Indoor speed skating is all about the exit, you know, setting up the entry and the exit, and she did it perfectly.
Oh, here comes Francesca Bell now throwing it. Oh, but she's having a hard time holding, so Cheyenne goes back with 1 lap to go. They're battling for that top spot. And as they approach the timeline, it looks like qualifying Allie. They're going to finish as they came around that last turn with Bell, Moses, and Fander qualifying for your 300-meter final a little bit later this evening.
The opportunity pass is one of the most important passes. You can't teach that. That's an instinct thing for a lot of athletes, especially these racers at the professional level.
Yeah.
These racers just respond and react. Most people, it would take them 2 heartbeats to think about it and then make the decision. But you see these girls, as soon as one person starts to slip, they've already made the muscle connection to accelerate. It's incredible.
Oh, and like you said, it's that instinct, that number of races. And I don't know how many races these ladies have been, hundreds, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
But it takes that. You know, it takes that experience to be able to have that feel for when someone's going to have a mishap and they can take advantage.
Exactly. It's really being able to see so many moves ahead. You know, the top athletes are able to see 2 or 3 moves ahead and have 4 or 5 different variations of what might happen and then be able to react to that. So it's all about planning in your head before it even happens, knowing 2 or 3 laps ahead what's going to happen and what could happen.
Well, I'll tell you what, we are about ready to have World War III on the floor of the Tacoma Armory with our 300-meter finalists in the men's division. In lane number 1, we got the Mamba, former grand champion, Mo Hall. We got Zach Sungyao, who is one of those sleepers as well. Zach may be the fastest skater here.
Absolutely.
Just hasn't been able to always put it together.
Right.
We got the Hammer and Husky and the 05 Jeremy Anderson. We got our current grand champion, B. Rizzi, Brandon Hall, the number 55. In lane number 5, that's the gun show. Franklin Hewitt is one of our most athletic-looking guys in the league.
Yeah,
and
Franklin's an amazing-looking athlete.
He sure is. And rounding out our field, actually, I take that back. We've got 2 more racers. We got Stephen Carter. Boy, you know S-Dot's going to come with something.
Yes.
He's going to mix it up. He's one of those guys that knows how to race. He's been in a million races.
Absolutely.
You can't count him out just because he hasn't raced in the league in a couple events.
You know, my second world championships in 2003 was with Stephen Carter, and he was just an amazing athlete back then, and he's never slowed down or stopped. And I got to say, you know, even though Mo Hall, the Black Mama, he's a talker all day long, he's one of the cleanest athletes out there.
Absolutely.
He's a great athlete. He's going to be explosive and dynamic. You guys, he's the one to watch for that last-minute ditch effort pass.
You bet. Now, if you see rounding on our field, we've got Jose Bordas. Jose, originally from Cuba, now stationed in Florida, got his citizenship actually just a couple of years ago. Pretty excited to have Jose in the league, a top-level athlete internationally, and showing his stuff tonight in the NSC.
Yeah, you know, I had a chance to talk with him a bit yesterday at the house, and it's incredible. You know, in Cuba, he was a national ranked athlete, and for so many years, the Cuban government, the Cuban governing body of speed skating, refused to send him to nationals or send him to worlds. And he said finally, after a while, he's like, you know, I'm just going to leave. So he had to renounce his citizenship to come here, wait a few years, get his citizenship, and now he's going to be trying out for the world team coming up in June or July. So it's incredible that the path that someone that loves skating so much will take to get what they want. And that's what you see in these pro athletes.
You're 100% right. You know, Jose's family also made some serious sacrifices. You know, he was sharing with me that his dad had a really good business in Cuba. They had things kind of rocking and rolling, and when they moved to the States, not so much, right?
Yeah,
you got to
exactly. It's a reset.
And they've got to do some things that, you know, Jose felt like he didn't want them to do. And
absolutely.
It kind of shows you his perseverance and his character, because he actually stopped skating for a couple of years.
4 years.
So he could help his family and
absolutely
make sure that they weren't struggling just to get him to speed skate.
Yep.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing him race in the NSC, but really looking forward to seeing him in Team USA trials here in just about a month.
Absolutely. And with a guy like him, because he's been so hungry and at the limit, at the level, skating against some of those Pan American teams when he was living in Cuba, knowing that, you know, these guys are racing, he's racing against or skating against, he was at the same level and they go to Worlds and get medals. He's got more of a hunger because he's never tasted it, but known it's possible.
Right, he knows it's possible. He's beaten plenty of guys that have moved on to the World Championships and medaled. So that is definitely, I think, something that's lit his fire, and sure excited for him to be in the NSC. Well, looks like we've got our technical difficulties work out. Let's see if we can get off to a clean start. I would be pretty shocked if we did.
I doubt we will.
It looked like everybody jumped.
Everyone jumps, and I guess it's a clean start.
Absolutely, and look who gets out in front. Brandon Hall hasn't lost a start in about 3 seasons, and here he goes. And right away we got Donovan Sellers who takes a spill. B. Rizzi out a sizable lead now. Stephen Carter in the second spot. Zach Sungyao holding down that third spot as they cross the timeline. They've got 1 lap to go. I don't think they're going to catch him. The battle's for second.
No way. Yeah, absolutely. Battle's definitely for second place.
It looks like Zach.
And Zach cannot get around. Stephen Carter, the racer in him right there. Stephen Carter is just amazing.
I tell you what, and that kind of goes back to what we've talked about before, Josh, where sometimes you got to race.
Absolutely.
Zach may have been a little faster. I don't think he outraced Carter in that one. So unofficially, we're going to have Brandon Hall, Stephen Carter, and Zach Sungyao, your top 3.
Yeah, going back to it, Zach is a strong guy, and to be honest, he might have beaten Stephen at time trial or all-out race, but that seasoned veteran in Stephen knows how to protect the position, the inside line, knowing when to step and when to stall, when to accelerate, knowing what his competition's like. That's the one that's going to win, even if they're not the fastest. That guy that knows what he's doing will win every time.
Boy, that what you described is almost exactly what happened in that last race, and it's good to see S-Dot back on the podium, but who's going to touch Brandon Hall? That's what I want to see. He was pretty much on his own, and it didn't look close at any point. So we'll get our 300-meter winner over at our media table here shortly, but before we get rolling with that, we've got the distance guys coming up with their 1,600-meter final.
That's right. These guys, again, the guys coming up in the distance final, just because they might be endurance athletes or distance guys, they'll still run 8.3s and 8.4s or 8.5s with the sprinters, but these guys will do 8 or 10 laps at the 9 mid, 9.2 to 9.3 for 8 or 10 laps before, then drop to an 8.5. And that just goes to prove that these guys are so efficient on their skates, and that makes sense why Vi 13 want to be a part of it, that these guys are the top level of their sport, and they're so efficient, and it just makes sense to be a part of that.
Well, 100%, and like you said, some of the lap times that, these guys, Justin Stelly's fastest lap time in the NSC was an 8.3.
Yeah, it's incredible for an endurance guy.
Right, he's an endurance guy, quote unquote. Jarrett Paul's run 8.4s. Wesley Gandy's run low 8.5s in that range. So these guys are certainly no slouches just because they've got a little bit more endurance.
Absolutely, and that's just it. Any marathon you ever do, it's chicken or the egg. What do? Do you say I want to train for sprints, but then if you don't have the endurance to get to the end of the sprint, what does it matter? You have to have the whole package.
Absolutely.
Even though you're a specialized athlete at Worlds or at a marathon event, let's say, or you're better at going out and taking off, you still have to have the whole package.
You got to have the whole package, and I think that you're going to see a lot of this here.
Well, if you look at our field, cockroach, Harry Howlett.
Yeah, Harry Howlett. I tell you what, that's the ageless wonder right there. I've had a chance to race against Harry several times over the last couple of years, and the guy is just ageless. I swear he can go a million laps and go race the next race.
Exactly, and where you might only see 1 or 2 passes in a race, he'll find 10 and make all 10 of them. So don't discount him because, again, I love the guy to death, but we call him the cockroach for a reason. He's never backing down.
Yeah, he will throw the bomb pass, and he does not care who's on.
That's right.
So we take a look at this field. We got Justin Stelly, Wesley Gandy, Bobby Beers, Joey Harmon, Josh Fredrickson, Harry Howlett, and the Season 4 Grand Champion, Silky Smooth Jarrett Paul.
That's right.
So it looks like Joey Harmon's going to go ahead and take the lead. And Josh Fredrickson says, no, I'm going to go ahead and control the pace a little bit.
That's right. Endurance athletes are very different. Some guys like to go to the front and control the race and race their race. You got guys like Justin Stelly that are a bit of a showboat, like here throwing the outside.
Yeah, here he comes on the outside as you speak.
Back there for a while. Right. It's all about how they like to race.
A lot of jockeying here early for such a long race. Typically, in the last couple of events, though, they've kind of really felt each other out, almost like a pace line, but I don't think anyone wants to do that today.
Maybe that's what it is, too. It's been so long since they've all actually raced against each other at this forum or at this format, and they're all feeling a little froggy, They want to put their stuff out on the floor to show that, look, I'm going to be the first guy to win. I'll be the second and the third and the fourth and fifth event. Whatever we do, they want to make sure that they got to say they were here the whole time.
Across the timeline now, we're going to have 10 laps to go, and Justin Stelly, boy, he is one of the most exciting passers in the game, and he's making it known already. Here comes Wesley Gandy now. moving that second spot. And
you
Harry
see
Howlett with the corner
Howlett
pass.
with the juke pass. That's an opportunity pass right there. You know, even though you would think that those speeds, they couldn't throw those things. With the wheels and the technology and the way these athletes can move their bodies, it's going to happen every single time.
Oh, there goes Josh Fredrickson now on the top spot. They've got 8 laps to go. Josh going to jam the pack a little bit, but here comes Wesley Gandy on the outside. As we cross the timeline, there's going to be 8 laps to go. Still going to be Gandy, Fredrickson, Stelly, your top 3, but right in there in the 3rd spot now is Silky Smooth. Actually, double pass now into that 2nd spot. We've got Fredrickson.
You can see the composure in guys like Silky that have been out there a long time, that even though they might be moving up and being dynamic and they're explosive, they don't always need to be. They're calm, they're relaxed, they're focused on what needs to happen, and they're making the correct moves at the most efficient way possible.
Exactly, and they don't call him Silky Smooth for nothing.
That's
As Silky's going to cross the timeline, we're going to have 5 laps to go now. It's going to be Silky, Wesley Gandy, Joey Harmon, and Justin Stelly.
That's right. You know, Stelly can be buying his time. You got Josh Fredrickson buying his time. We're starting to lose Howlett there a bit, but don't discount him. He always throws some stuff in at the end there.
Here comes Jarrett Paul now. As we cross the timeline, we're going to have 3 laps to go. It's going to be Jarrett Paul, Wesley Gandy, Joey Harmon starting to pick up the pace now.
That's right. You see
Here comes Jarrett Paul.
Out. The pack's stretching out. You know, Jarrett Paul has been in the NSC for the last 2 seasons. He's just winding up and just hurting these boys.
Yeah, he is. Here comes now. Jarrett Paul looks like he's got a sizable lead. Battle might be for 2nd spot. Here comes Justin Stelly now.
Yeah, you know, Stelly needs to get up there and throw. You know, there's only so long you can wait.
And
here
you knew
comes
he
the
was going to
Hollywood
throw.
pass.
Oh!
Yeah,
Couldn't quite hold it. Oh, and it looks like
did not make that pass. He was lucky that pylon was off because he would have ate it for sure.
Unofficially, it looks like it's going to be Jarrett Paul. And I couldn't tell you who got the 2nd spot between Joey Harmon and Wesley Gandy. That was a pretty tight race.
It looked like Gandy, but yeah, he's too close to tell for sure.
And we'll get you guys the official results as they become available. Well, I tell you what, Jarrett Paul looks pretty determined to take that black suit from Brandon Hall.
You know what that was? You know, Brandon Hall might have won that 300 by a good bit, but I'll tell you what, when you can go out there, jockey for position out there, and you just walk away from some of your competitors, that right there was a statement to the current grand champ. You better watch out for me in that grand champions race tonight.
Very impressive win by Jarrett Paul, and we'll get him on the mic with us here a little bit later. Coming up now, we've got our women's 300-meter final. Now, this women's final now is going to be just as exciting, if not more exciting, than that 300-meter men's final. You've got quite a few gals that I think could take the race, and a lot of it could be determined on who wins the start.
Absolutely. You know, the start is, you know, they say the start in a sprint is 90% of it. Preparation and setup for that race is so important. You know, and even though people don't think about it, in a race, a 300-meter race like that, or even in a 500-meter race, there's strategy, there's timing, there's got to be a place to relax. Knowing how much you can lead from, let's say, or when you can make the passes, how long they've been pushing. There is a total strategy to everything you do. It's not just a gut out and race as hard as you can.
Right.
The strategy is laid out way before the race starts.
Yeah, not by any stretch. I think sometimes too often they think, all right, the 300, you got to win the start, and you got to just go. Well,
just go, yeah.
That's awesome, except for when everybody else in the race is just as
exactly.
fast.
Drafting is is 12 to 17% easier behind the person. So if you can make sure you're not going to get past the guy in 2nd or 3rd, is comfortable sitting there as long as you can protect your position by either stepping in a little bit and blocking or riding the hip in a bit to protect the position to keep that skater back from passing, you can sit there and then in the last lap, you just go around the person because they've been wasting themselves for the last 200 meters.
You're exactly
right.
So
again, that's strategy right there that people have to make. And some people just don't know what to do or don't know how to race necessarily. They're like, I'll just hang on and hope something happens. And a lot of times things do.
Yeah, and I tell you what, one guy that's been a product of that over the years has been Jeremy Anderson.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of those guys that's very calm. He's going to wait till things happen,
Yep.
and that's happened for him. Obviously, didn't happen for him tonight in the 300, but the 500 is a little bit different story.
Absolutely. You know, you talk to Jeremy at Battle in Seattle or other races I've seen him in the last 10 years or 15 years that I've raced with him, and you say, wow, man, how did you know what was going on? He said, Josh, I saw it was going to happen from lap 7 with 7 to go. I knew it was going to happen, so I just sat back and bided my time. Or he knows. Again, being that top quality, amazing racer right there, these guys just know exactly what's going to happen or what could happen.
I agree 100%, Josh. Well, Josh, we're going to take you off the set.
Yep.
We're going to get our 300-meter winner, Brandon Hall, to join us here on the mic.
Okay.
Oh, cool. He's going to pull up a chair and join us.
Hi, dude.
What's up, up, man?
Well, Brandon, you haven't lost a start in a long time. Heck, you haven't lost a race in a long time. Pretty good job avoiding all the traffic. Tell us a little bit about how you felt in that 300.
Going in, I was a little sketched out just because every NSC, the first one, you don't really know what to expect. You don't know who's training. And as far as I know, the floor conditions weren't exactly what I was expecting. But the wheels that we have now they're one of the best wheels I've skated on here, and it made the race super easy for me.
Well, in case you guys are wondering, the wheels he's referring to is our NSC Alpha wheel. It is definitely an advantage to have them here. I think if we were on a different wheel, I don't think that we would have even seen the quality of racing that we did
it'd
tonight.
It'd be a little sketchy for sure.
Absolutely. Well, we also saw one of your biggest competitors and a former grand champion, Jarrett Paul, do some work in the 1600. Talk a little bit about how excited you are to race him tonight in the 800-meter grand champion event.
I'm excited because just of all the trash talk going back and forth, and I just really want to see what's going to unfold in the 8-lap. It's a little bit longer for a sprint, a little bit shorter for a distance, so it's going to be perfect for us two to battle it out. I expected a little bit more out of Justin Stelly. Maybe it's just not, he hasn't been skating. I know he hasn't been skating inlines for training as hard as he usually does, but you never know this 8-lap. There's going to be a lot of good guys in it.
Right, especially with Justin Stelly, because you never know with that guy.
Yeah, you can never count him out.
What? Yeah.
So based on after seeing Silky just win that and going into the race, did you have a different plan starting? Because a lot of these athletes out there that are learning to make their plans and want to follow a racer like you, when you make a plan and you see the way he raced now and maybe change the way he looks or see the way your plan, has your plan changed now?
No, it hasn't changed. I kind of expected him to go up front like he always does, and he'll lead the last 6 laps strong, and no one can really hang on. They don't have the legs like him, but I expect him to do the same thing in the Grand Champion race. But a guy like me, I don't like anyone leading, so I plan to cut him off and slow his rhythm down a little bit.
I think that sounds like a good plan. And Brandon, good luck in the 500 coming up here in a little bit. Good luck in the 100-meter time trial, but you've already made your stamp. We'll see you tonight in the Grand Champions race.
Yep, thank you, man.
All right, we'll see you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man. Well, we will find Silky Smooth here in just a second. We'll get our 1,600-meter winner on the mic with us as well. Warming up on the track right now, we've got an exhibition coming up. We've got our younger skaters. We've got some freshman boys. We've got some elementary girls. 2 of the top divisions here in the Northwest in terms of numbers and talent. We are excited about getting those guys on the track. We're going to track down Silky Smooth here shortly.
Yeah, these guys here on the track right now, these are the next generation. These guys are young. You can't skate the NSC till you're 16. But these guys out here that are 10, 11, 12, 13, these guys are the generation that are going to be coming up, and they're going to be the ones hurting the Stellys. They're going to be the ones hurting the Jarretts. They're going to be the ones that are trying to take the crown. So you see these guys out here that they can be a part of it. It's a really cool thing, especially with Patterson having so many strong athletes that come across and bridge the gap. I mean, it all the way stems back from Apollo. Apollo came from Patterson's.
You bet.
And now you've got all these guys that are making the transition from the beginner or advanced level athlete to now these elite level athletes, and just showing it here tonight.
Absolutely. Well, Josh, looks like we've got our 1,600-meter winner, Jarrett Paul, who's going to join us on the set. Jarrett Paul, Silky Smooth.
What's going on, brother?
Man, it seems like forever since I got a chance to interview you at the NSC. Boy, you looked good, man. You look like you're in shape. You look like you've been training your butt off, and you made the 1,600 look pretty easy. Talk to us a little bit about how that race went for you and kind of the result at the end.
Well, I knew a lot of it was people were going to be sliding out a little bit, so I knew the front towards the end is definitely where you wanted to be. And I kind of wanted to just sit in the pack a little bit, not try to do too much work, because I wanted to go to the front at the very beginning, but everybody kept trying to get to the front. So,
yeah, that was a lot of jockeying earlier.
Yeah, so I was like, it makes no sense for me to try to control the lead when everybody wants to be there right now. So I figured I would just let everybody kind of jock around, do their passing, just kind of see where everybody was at, where their heads were at. And everybody was going, they were going everywhere, outside, inside, so I was hoping that they're going to burn their legs out a little bit.
Well, I tell you what, you didn't look like you burned your legs out at all. You definitely had a lot left in the tank. Now, obviously, we've been talking about the matchup pretty much all month between Season 4 Grand Champ, Silky Smooth, Season 6 Grand Champ, Brandon Hall. Both of you guys already have wins, so you've stamped your ticket to the Grand Champions race. Talk a little bit about how excited you are for that race and how you think that race may go down.
I'm definitely feeling a little bit more comfortable in the floor. I was very nervous at first. I wasn't sure what I was going to be able to do. I think I kind of found my track, so I'm feeling pretty confident with it. In 8 laps, I think it's just enough to where it's out of the realm of a sprint for him and starting to get more into the endurance speeds.
Absolutely, 100%, yeah.
So, I'm hoping that if everything plays out all right, we'll keep the race fast and hopefully just take out some of his legs before the last few laps.
Well, that's definitely sounds like a good strategy. Talking with Brand, he told us a little bit about his strategy. I think both you guys have some strategies that could definitely put you guys in the race, man. I'm excited for you, man. Good luck in the 1,000. Good luck in the 100-meter time trial. And obviously, good luck tonight in that Grand Champions race.
Yeah, appreciate it, brother.
All right, Jarrett.
Thanks, man.
Jarrett Paul, everybody. They don't call him silky smooth for nothing, ladies and gentlemen. Made that 1,600-meter race look pretty much effortless, and we're pretty excited about Jarrett being back in the league, and I think he's going to provide some excitement tonight in that 800-meter Grand Champions race against Brandon Hall.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible to watch those two go at it. They've been trash talking a little bit throughout the week, and it's all in fun and games. At the end of the day, they'll still be good friends at the end of the race.
Oh, no doubt.
With all the lights up and the race preparation before, and seeing each other warm up and get that tickle in their tummy kind of thing for that race to really
race bug, man,
to put themselves out there again. The NSC season 7 race 1. It's going to be incredible to see these two go at it.
I could not agree more. And when you really think about the level of competition, to watch those two guys do what they did early, I think it definitely sets us up for a pretty good Grand Champions race at the end of the night.
Absolutely. Both inline world team members, track world team members, Americans, they used to call the American relay because that's how we did it, the track and the corners, the way we skated. And these are your two best cornering athletes in the world right now, I think, especially at the inline indoor world level. You can always say that, you've got guys like Bart Swings or you've got guys like Mantia who could always come in physically and challenge these athletes. But at this format, on this level, in this situation, these guys are untouchable.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. I think too often people get worried about who isn't here.
Exactly.
Right?
Absolutely.
And that would be like saying, Apollo Ono's not the best short track skater because Shawnee Davis skates long track.
Absolutely. Or vice versa,
right?
You know? Well, yeah, there's no way Shawnee would win all the Olympics if Apollo skated. It's always easy to say what could happen based on what you think they do in another sport or another facet of the sport. But, until you put them on the same format, and that's why with Miguel and Pro NSC, they always offer the international racers to come over.
100%.
Come on over. We want it. You don't have to try out. You come over, we'll get you a suit. We'll put you in the middle of these guys, and we'll put our guys against you all day long.
And so if you guys are out there listening, you international racers that skate for your respective country at the world level, we would love for you to be in the NSC.
Absolutely.
We would love for you to be here at any of our events that we host just about everywhere in the world now that we've taken it to South America.
Yep.
And really some big things that are coming upon the horizon as well, trying to take this thing internationally and really building that base for hopefully an indoor world championships.
Absolutely. We've been talking about that for a long, long time, but it's actually become a bit of a reality now that we've kind of gotten this this bit of group message going back and forth, talking about how it's possible and how we can make it work. And again, you've got guys like the people that own my company, Gary and Teresa Ryan, inline racers of heart. And these guys just want to see great racing. It's just like Kieran-style track racing. We want to put it on that level where those guys get put away in a locked velodrome for however long, or these guys get put away in a locked velodrome or an indoor rink for 2 or 3 days, and then it becomes betting or whatever it might be.
Right.
So just bring that kind of excitement and that kind of a feel to the sport.
I think it would just bring the intensity up a million levels, Josh. Well,
Absolutely.
we've got our elementary girls coming up. And it looks like Auburn, speed out in front.
That's right. Auburn accelerating really, really well. The acceleration out of that turn's incredible. Even though Team Extreme there in second was able to get the start, her acceleration wasn't as strong coming out of the turn. And that's just what happens when you have that kind of acceleration out of the turn.
We got Autumn Herman as well as Chase Anderson in the second and third spot. Chase, the daughter of Jeremy Anderson.
The legend.
And it looks like Auburn's going to walk away with it. That is.
My dad's Jeremy Anderson. It's a tough set of shoes to fill, but she's doing really well here in third place.
And it looks like Kayla from Auburn Speed Team is going to walk away with this one.
Again, these are our generations that are coming up. These are the Mackenzie Browns and Francesca Bells and the Aaron Jacksons and the Melissa Perrys of the sport. You know, they, you know, even though they're not on the level of our world-class pro NSC ladies, they are not far behind.
Not by any stretch, and it's really, really neat to see the future of speed skating right before our eyes.
Exactly, you see it unfold.
Now this group, Josh, I know these guys very well. A lot of these guys skate for Patterson's. A lot of these guys hurt my legs a lot in our 50-lap races. These kids can really skate. And this one in particular, Marcus Howard from Patterson's Team Extreme, won nationals at the elementary boys level. He'll be a first-year freshman and will be right in the mix as well.
Yep.
We've got Isaiah.
Yeah, Isaiah's
another one.
Too. Both these guys will skate 8.6s and 8.8s from what Miguel was telling me.
Absolutely.
That's incredible.
And you look at these two guys. Isaiah actually won the elementary boys division the year before. So on their first year, Isaiah won. The next year, Marcus won. That tells you a little bit about the depth on our team at that level.
Yep. You know, it's the legacy. You guys up here in Patterson's, you up in Northwest region, you guys have a legacy that you're constantly feeding and bringing in new athletes. You know, in speed skating across the nation, which is what we want to make it. We want to make it amazing. We want to show how amazing our sport is. But not everyone has that. Up here in the Northwest, you guys, blood, sweat, and tears believe that NSC or speed skating in general is the coolest sport, and it really is.
No, I agree 100%.
I put my life into it too.
Oh yeah,
so
no doubt about it.
It's these guys are reflections of the sport being amazing and what can happen.
What's really neat is you watch these guys, and yes, they're in an exhibition, but every single one of those racers on the line wants to win. You see the other gentleman in lane 5, that's Julian Arimbi. Julian is another top skater in that same division for Patterson's, and we're going to see who's going to come out on top, Josh.
You know, they look like a bunch of little mini-me's out there. You know, they're all pro athletes. They look technically.
Holy smokes, and we go Marcus Howard out in front.
Look at that.
Julian Arimbi in the second spot. Looks Gabe, and I cannot remember Gabe's last name, but Gabe skates for Auburn Speed, another very talented young skater in the freshman boys division.
They may not have the big legs of Justin Stellies and Jarrett Pauls, but look at how dynamic these guys are. The lean over the turn is just like Jeremy Anderson. And you look at this, it's incredible to see these guys lean as hard as they are and as small and as fast as they are.
Oh, and at the line, it looks like unofficially it's going to be Marcus Howard and Julian Arimbi. But I tell you what, both guys rocking our stock NSC uniforms made by Vi 13, looking sharp.
Looking very sharp.
Looking good. And that right there, my friends, is the future of inline speed
Absolutely.
skating.
And I'll tell you what, we don't just say the future of inline speed skating for the U.S. So these guys are going to be the Bart Swings and the Mantillas. These guys right here that are bred up here again with that legend behind them, having that nostalgia behind them, and having guys like Miguel who are still coaching and still coming here to learn or to teach these guys. They're just incredible. That's why they learn, and that's why they're so strong right now, because they've got guys like Miguel and
Jeremy Anderson
that are still showing them.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can see the technique and the legend of those athletes reflected in their technique or in the way they race. It's amazing.
And those kids are incredibly coachable. Those guys will take any bit of information, try to dissect it, and use it to their advantage. And that racing right there, I think, is a prime example of what those kids are capable of doing.
Absolutely. It's so great to see so many athletes. You know, like you said, they're like sponges. You know, to see so many athletes out here that are so receptive to the coaching, it's very difficult you can't teach that. You know what I mean?
It's very hard to teach.
You cannot teach that. Anybody can teach a technique, or anybody can teach something, a learned exercise. But these guys out here that listen and respond and then apply, you can't teach that.
That's one thing that's almost unbeatable, Josh.
Absolutely.
Well, we've got our women's 300-meter final coming up, but I want to be able to take this time to thank our sponsors. I want to thank Bones Bearings. I want to thank TLTF Manufacturing. We want to thank Vi 13. And we cannot forget about Cato Motus. Without you guys, it would be very, very impossible for us to do what we're doing. And we appreciate all of your support and really excited about this season. I want to take this opportunity for us to kind of piggyback about what we were talking about earlier, a little bit more about the Vi 13 company, a little bit more about what you guys do and the kind of the R&D that goes into just the speed skating uniforms alone.
Yeah, we do so much R&D. Things like Gary and I, the owner of the company, Gary and I will sit on the phone and dissect a fabric, specifically a fabric, what kind of fabric we want to put under the arm or on the back of the neck, or can we make this panel here to add, enough. It's all about reducing the vector trail, being aerodynamic let's say you only gain 1%, but 1% over 10K,
oh,
that's 100
that's
meters.
a lot.
I would love 100 meters.
Absolutely.
I'll take 100 meters all day long.
Absolutely.
You know, so the fact that we spend so much time on the technical level trying to get 1 millimeter smaller or more aerodynamic, it's so great to be a part of not only the sport that I love, but in such a technical aspect now, because going to ice for me in 2007, doing my ice career for a bit, I was always a student of my sport, but I became an incredibly technical person. And now being able to apply that technique or apply that learned skill of being overly technical to now the job that makes me the man I am today.
Sure.
It's so amazing to be a part of that, because again, you know, it's on the technical level that no other athlete, a lot of those European countries and South American countries are already doing this.
Right.
And,
and have been for years. You're
Exactly.
right.
You know, and you talk to, like when Miguel talked to the athletes last night, he says, guys, this is not like the normal PJs you're normally putting on. You don't just throw it on and throw it over your shoulders and put it up. There's a technique. There's a specific technique to just put this on.
Yeah, for you viewers at home, the other night when we had our athlete meeting, it was actually incredible hearing Josh talk the athletes through, because it was like a science. You could not just throw them on, like you said, lace them up and go. It was not that type of suit, and I think that speaks volumes to the amount of time you guys have put in
Absolutely.
to really developing a great product.
Exactly. We've put time in the wind tunnel. We put time in the wind tunnel. We've got, you know, numbers to prove that we produce some of the fastest suits on the market. And for the fact that we are such a small company, we've only been open to the market since 2011. Since 2011, and as a company, we've grown so much. We've been in the last 2 Olympics. Even though we weren't marketed in the Olympics, we've been in the last 2 Olympics, and we'll be in the next 2.
Wow.
Between ice speed skating, cycling, and we have quite a few other athletes in different types of apparel, again, because we make that collegiate style apparel on the level. We actually have been working with MIT.
Oh, wow.
We've done their cycling gear and some of their kit, but we actually worked with the wind tunnel, the MIT branch in Australia based, because that's where Gary's from. We've worked with them before to do our wind tunnel testing. So, you know, it's onto that microscopic technical 1 millimeter level that we want to make our suits. We say anytime the suits we want to make or our clothing we want to make, it's all about making you lighter, faster, drier, and cooler. That's the most important things in all of sport. Heat takes away energy from you.
Right.
You know, reducing the vector trail increases your speed, and that reduces your energy consumption. So there's so many technical things that Gary and Teresa and myself and the other gentleman that owns the company in Australia, John Forrest, that we've spent years, that Gary especially spent years, and myself just the last 2 years, being so technical.
Well, I think that's incredible, Josh, and I think it speaks volumes in terms of what you guys are doing. And like you said, giving back to the sport, you guys did not have to come to inline.
No,
absolutely
not.
You guys could have made a fine living in cycling.
Exactly.
And I think it's pretty neat that you're giving back to the sport.
Absolutely.
And being involved with the National Speed Skating Circuit. I think it's pretty awesome.
Well, thank you. We love to be a part of this. It's incredible. You know, again, you know, like you said, it's a perfect example that we didn't have to come back, but because we love the sport so much, we want to come back. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm telling you what, I'm glad you came back for this. We've got our women's 300-meter final coming up. In lane number 1, we've got Mackenzie Brown. Lane number 2, we've got Cheyenne Moses. And lane number 3, we've got Brianna Bocox.
You know, I gotta say too, the suits that I helped, that Miguel helped me design here, we picked each individual athlete's colors, and just how exciting that is to see that plastered on them. You know, it just looks amazing.
You're exactly
right. And I gotta say, out of everyone who just skated out there, Ali Fander is my favorite suit out there. That color is just incredible to me.
He's been talking about Ali Fander's suit in lane number 4 all weekend. It's definitely, got some pop to it. It's definitely attractive to the eye.
Definitely.
In lane number 5, we got Missy Perry. And rounding out our field, last but certainly not least, Francesca Bell. The whole Pasquarella family, hopefully you guys are listening down there. We miss you guys. Hopefully we get to see you guys again soon. And you guys keep doing what you're doing down in Orlando. You've got a great thing going and are continually producing top-level skaters. And rounding out our field, how could I forget about Aaron Jackson?
Of course, you can't forget about Aaron Jackson.
We filled that line so full, I forgot about Aaron, but you cannot forget about Aaron, who just came off of a 300-meter time trial victory, a 500-meter victory over in Europe.
Yeah,
and it looks like we're piling up everybody. We're saying, you know what? We're going for it.
Why not, you know? Yeah, that just
we're
makes the
going
racing
for
that
it.
much more exciting. You see these girls giving each other a high five before, and you want to have that great sportsmanship. That's what's beautiful about our sport. But these girls want to rip each other's heads off.
Well, I'll tell you what, Josh, I spoke out of turn. I was thinking this was the 300-meter event. This is not the 300-meter event.
Oh.
We have the 1,300-meter event coming up first. So this is a little bit longer race for the ladies, their long race of the night. I think when you look at the dynamic of the group, we talked about Francesca being such a strong skater.
That's right.
She's certainly got to be a favorite in this one. But Erin Jackson's going to not take any chances and is going to go out to the front right away.
And just because these athletes, again, are sprinters, you see the technicians they are. Francesca Bell may be focused on the sprint or the middle to low distance, but because she's so technical and efficient, it just makes it easy to skate distance sometimes because
You're
she's
exactly
so technical.
Right. As we cross the timeline, we're going to have 12 laps to go. It's going to be Erin Jackson, Missy Perry now in that second spot, Mackenzie Brown, and Francesca Bell, your top 4. Francesca Bell now makes a move up into the third spot.
Brianna Bocock sitting there in the back of the pack there, kind of biding her time. She's a very, very strong athlete. She's she's medaled and placed top 3 numerous times in the Pro NSC ladies division. But that goes to show you right there, someone at that elite level will sit sometimes depending on the dynamic of the pack.
And Bree's been skating a ton of ice, so I know that she hasn't spent as much time as some of the other ladies indoor as of late. But again, she certainly has the strength to be a factor.
Absolutely.
Well, the race is starting to heat up, ladies and gentlemen. As we cross the timeline, we've got 7 laps to go. It's going to be Francesca Bell, Erin Jackson, Missy Perry, and Mackenzie Brown, your top 4.
Again, Lonnie Nicole is one of those ones also that hasn't moved up too much, but she's right there on the bubbles there, sitting just behind Allie Fander, and she could be ready to throw anything anytime.
Absolutely. Another former Team USA member, Lonnie, one of our better endurance skaters, but she better start making a move now, Josh, because this pace is going to pick up.
It's getting to the point where these are the moves that need to happen. In endurance racing, they say with about 5 laps to go, you need to be in the right position. In 1,000 meter, I was always with 5 laps to go and 1,000 meter, half the race done. I was always in the position I wanted to be. Never drop past 3rd place. And you can see Allie and the pack there starting to drop the girls in 5th and 6th.
Here we go now. 3 laps to go.
Yeah,
Francesca Bell picking up the pace now a little bit.
Just winding it up.
Might be walking away from them. Josh, here we go. 2 laps to go.
Like it. You can see the technique difference. Even though they're both dynamic, you can see the power difference that Francesca Bell has. Even though she's quick to foot, she's driving those steps out.
Erin Jackson makes a move now. It's going to be Francesca Bell, Erin Jackson, and Missy Perry. And unofficially, they will finish in that same order. Francesca Bell, Erin Jackson, and Missy Perry. And the youngest athlete in the NSC, can't forget about Allie Fander. She finished in 4th place. You bet.
Great for her. She was back 3 or 4 positions from that, or she was back 2 positions from that 4th place in 6th, and she wound it up, passed up. Again, not all snap with the group when that happens if you're in that 5th or 6th position, but she did what she could. She got around and she kept accelerating. So she's definitely not one to sleep on at all.
No, and I tell you what, the future for her is very bright. She is the youngest skater in the NSC at 16 and making her mark early, but cannot take anything away from our grand champion, Francesca Bell. Like you said, she just had the power. Yep. She had the burst at the end to pull away, and a fantastic race by number 13.
That's right.
Well, Josh, so far the ladies are not disappointing in terms of the racing.
Not at all. The men are always fun to watch. Again, we've been 7 seasons now, or this will be the 7th season with the men and only the 2nd for the ladies. But they came out of the block last year and made some amazing racing, dynamic, explosive experiences for us. And they're not letting us down this year at all either.
No, I tell you what, they definitely look re-energized and looks like a group that's going to be pretty fun to watch all year.
Absolutely. For the ladies like, for Erin Jackson and Mackenzie, who were just over in Germany, they're still dynamic. They're always going to be racers. And someone has said to me one time, and actually I think this might have been quoted by, I'm sure, a world level athlete, which I can't remember, so I'm not going to try. It's not always the person that wants to win so bad that's the one you really want to watch or the one that's always going to win. It's the person that hates to lose.
Right.
I love to win.
Right.
I want to win. I want it, but I hate to lose. That's the difference in the athletes out here is these guys, yes, of course they want to win, but nobody wants to say that I got beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's a different mentality that a lot of people have. Everybody wants to win or make money or be whatever.
Because winning's easy, right? It's easy when you're winning, but
of course.
like you said, if you hate to lose, and I know Francesca Bell pretty well, she hates to lose.
Yep, absolutely. And I don't know the girls on the same level as you do. Again, coming back to the sport only for the last 7 or 8 months, but I can see it in the way they race, and I can see it in the way they turn and the way they explode. They hate to lose.
Oh, absolutely, and it's that determination that's helped Francesca get to where she's at, and that's why she's got the black suit on, Josh.
Exactly, that's right. You know, that suit isn't given away lightly. It doesn't just happen, oh, yeah, here you go, good job. No, that has to be earned.
That is definitely earned. There are no participation medals here in the NSC.
Absolutely not.
Well, Josh, we're getting ready to start the 100-meter time trials for the guys.
Great.
I'm
Exciting
interested to
times.
see what times we can turn on this floor. I know that the conditions haven't been pristine, but the reality is that's life, right? You're not always going to
Absolutely.
have perfect conditions, but you
Yep.
still got to compete.
Exactly.
You still have to race.
It's
Everyone's skating on the same floor.
Absolutely. Everyone's skating the same thing. Again, you know, luckily with these TLTF manufacturer wheels that, you know, Kurt set us up with, these guys are still skating very well, skating very fast. I wouldn't be surprised if we still see those mid to high 8s that we're, you know, we normally see those mid to low 8s or whatever. But I would not be surprised if we see some mid to high 8s still, even though the floor conditions are not ideal.
I agree. I had a chance to skate on the new NSC Alpha wheel on Thursday at practice, and the rebound alone was scary. It was almost like I had to relearn how to skate. There was just so much pop to the wheel.
Yep.
And so I still think you're seeing that, but because the floor conditions are a little bit different, maybe not as pristine as normally they would be, you maybe don't see the grip as much. But again, had they not had these wheels on, I really would hate to see what the races would have looked like. So
Absolutely. And it comes from everything, too. It comes from where the bearing race and the hub that Kurt poured for us. You know, it's a great looking wheel. I actually had it in my hand, and I did one of the vertical twist tests, and I was like, wow, even though technically it's a disc style wheel with spokes, you expect it to be extremely tight and extremely strong, especially because it's the injected carbon.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. It's still a great, flexible, moldable, strong, rebounding wheel. It seems really great just from handling it.
And, you know, a lot of it happened in just the R&D portion. You know, this wheel was scheduled to come out in March.
Yep.
But the product wasn't good enough
Yep,
for
that's
Miguel.
right.
Miguel Jose is a perfectionist, and he
That's
said,
right.
if we're going to come out with a wheel, we're going to come out with the best wheel.
And so is Kurt. You know, Kurt's a perfectionist as well, but because he doesn't skate at the level of these guys, he relies on Miguel to be brutally honest. Like, send him a set of wheels, and nope, they don't work. Or, yep, they work.
Yep.
Or can you tweak this?
Right.
And when you got two technicians like Kurt, and, you know, I've said the word technician a lot, and that's what the difference between an average or an above average person or athlete
I could not agree more, yeah.
and an elite level athlete.
Right, you wanna be at the
business
elite
person,
level.
You have to be a technician. And when you've got both of those guys that are willing to work together, and Kurt is so responsive on that, which is great, that's why we have the perfect wheel now. You know, NSC has got the perfect wheel.
No, I couldn't agree more. And one thing I skate on the Matter wheel for a long time, which is a really good wheel as well. There's definitely nothing wrong with the Matter wheel.
Nope.
But it just didn't turn as well.
Yeah, well,
This
they have a
wheel
much
can
more
really
rigid.
turn.
They have a much more rigid hub. You know, they have a hollow core hub. They're hydrojetted or vibrated together. I don't know the exact terminology for it, but it's a hollow core hub. Larger disc, a lot less flexibility, so it's going to skate completely different.
Right.
You put the same urethane and these guys are on that hub, it will skate night and day difference.
Absolutely, 100%. And
Yep.
what's neat about this ride is this wheel is, obviously good enough for the elite level skater.
Absolutely.
But it's got such a smooth ride. I think pretty much any skater at any level could certainly reap the benefits of the wheel.
Absolutely. The injection process from the beginning with the band and the whole thing that I saw some pictures that Miguel showed me of the process that he was sent, and it's just incredible. It makes sense why they are consistently flipping left, from one lettering or non-lettering side. They're consistent day in and day out. That's why, Kurt with TLTF makes a great wheel. So it's the whole process.
This has certainly worked, and I'm excited to continue.
Yeah, and you hope that it's always tough. It's always tough that once you have something that you get a guy like Kurt that says, "Hey, I bet I can make it better," and sometimes Miguel has to go, "No, hold on, this is great. Let my guys skate on this, and then we'll give you more feedback. And if there is changes, then we'll make the changes. But until then, don't touch it."
No, I agree 100%. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think this
exactly.
will-
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And I tell you what, I really believe that we've hit it out of the park with this particular wheel, and I think we're going to get a true test to see how well this wheel's performing here in these 100-meter time trials.
That's right. You know, you got Jarrett Silky Smooth Paul over here that just did a quick acceleration.
Looked strong, didn't he?
Just looked amazing, man. The technique and the explosiveness and the control still. You know what I mean? These guys, again, they're skating, high 20s in the 30-mile-an-hour range, and the fact that they can cruise around a radius of a corner that's 100 meters within one lap is just incredible.
Sometimes when you really think about this sport, specifically indoor speed skating, it's almost like it defies a lot of things in terms of what the human body should be able to do.
Absolutely. Apollo said one time with speed skating in general, speed skating is all about putting yourself in the most uncomfortable position and going as fast as you can. And these guys do it day in and day out and make it look simple.
They do make it look simple. Well, Josh, I want to take this time to give a couple of shout-outs. Definitely got to give a shout-out because I know he's listening. My boy, Michael Cheeks. The big man. I know you're out there listening, man.
We miss you, man.
Hopefully you are enjoying the married life. Hopefully you and the wife are enjoying a Saturday night of watching some NSC. I'm sure she's probably excited as you are.
Yeah, that's right.
Check out the boys' race.
That's right. Yeah, congratulations to those guys for sure, and big shout out to Cheek and the whole crew in the southern region over there.
Definitely want to give some shout outs to my people out in Spokane. I know some of you guys couldn't make it out this weekend. My man Brian Howe, I appreciate the hospitality, man. You are one of the finest gentlemen, and the whole Howe family, is just a class act. Enjoyed my time staying with them at the Spokane Classic a week ago. I know Sean Patterson hosts a fantastic meet. Guys, if you get a chance to come out to Spokane for the Spokane Classic a year from now, do it. It is one of the most well-run meets that I've been able to skate at, and certainly want to give some love to the Patterson family out there in Spokane.
That's right. I'd like to give a shout out to my team as well, Triad Racing. I skated there from about 1996 on when my parents started coaching there, and went to do ice and came back, and now I'm coaching full-time there 4 days a week, and they've really stepped up. It's all, again, because I was out of the realm for so long in that area, the dynamic and the legacy has changed a bit, and I got to say a big shout out to those guys because they've really stepped up preparing for indoor nationals. Total culture shock. I threw them in the deep end in the last couple of months, base training and anaerobic threshold training, and kind of bringing a lot of what I learned from ice, just like a lot of these athletes have, and shown them some new things, and they've really responded well. So I want to give a big shout out tonight, guys. Sorry I missed the practice, but I'll see you tomorrow night.
Yeah, I bet. I'm sure Brian Hayes will get them lined up for you. Rocking and rolling. Shout out to Brian. Big shout out to Billy Mathis as well from Triad Racing. Those two guys are just class acts. Well,
yeah, just great guys. You got guys. I was talking to Miguel the other day, and Brian Hayes, Jamie is his son, and in the last 3.5 or 4 months, he's dropped like 2.5 seconds in his 500 meter, and that's just unheard of. It's a technical and mental change. Not just Jamie, but every athlete out there has to make that physical, technical, and emotional change. Committing to speed skating at the level that these guys want to commit to is a tough thing. And the fact that all these athletes across the nation and the world can do that, it's incredible.
It really is. Now, hey, we're getting ready for our 100-meter time trials. We got Joey Harmon rocking the number 94 who's going to start things off for us. As he approaches the timeline, he's going to have one lap to turn and burn and give his best. Let's see what he's got.
Look at the explosiveness that happens as soon as that lap starts, man. You can set it up all you want, but as soon as you see that lap go, look at that.
Wow, Joey Harmon, okay.
And the hawk.
Oh, it looked like the timer was a little bit off. I don't think Joey ran a 13-second lap.
And no, he's definitely not still going, yeah. But, yeah, you can see the dynamic, explosive speed coming out of those turns, Again, because the entry pylon of the turn is the most aggressive arc of the turn, or the apex. People think that the middle of the turn is an apex, but because of the shape of the pylon, the shape of the track, the apex is a completely different position. So that's why these guys are able to hook that turn and skate nice and easy in, and then you see the explosive power coming out.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, Joey Harmon, he's the first guy to go, so he kind of got to sample the track a little bit, and from what I saw, it seems to be holding a heck of a lot better than it was a little bit earlier this evening.
That's right. Even in the warm-up, these guys earlier on, about 45 minutes before, when we were still cleaning the track and trying to get it better for these guys, because you want the best platform for these guys to display their athletic strength on. But you can only do so much. You can only do so much, but these guys over this time, they get more comfortable on the floor. They just look amazing, and Joey Harmon, even though he wasn't up there in the very, very end of that distance race, and you've got guys that are strong, he skated absolutely amazing, and I couldn't have made any critique myself, at least.
Yeah, he looked good, and I tell you what, he's going to have a tough act to follow. This gentleman right here, S. Carter, number 10. S. One of the finest sprinters to ever grace the American soil. I am super excited to have Carter back in the league. He's going to start cranking it up. Let's see what he's got as he crosses the timeline.
That's right.
He's going to have one lap to turn it up. Let's see what he's got.
And he's a power skater, even though he's still a sprinter. You see the difference in the technique. He's a power skater. You know, he sets the turn up really well, and he's putting that power down and making those strides last.
We're having timer issues, Josh. I wish we could get you guys some legitimate times. Looks like, yep, sounds like Stephen Carter runs a 9.1. Had a little bit of a slip there.
That's right.
But certainly a respectable time given the conditions.
Absolutely. Very respectable time. Again, with the conditions, it's going to be real tough to know for sure. I still think it's going to be, the bar to break or the mark to make is going to be about an 8.6, maybe faster. You got Brandon Hall, you got Silky, especially with no passing going on, and these guys can set their own turns.
Right.
This is going to be incredibly fast still, even with the conditions.
Well, here we go. We got a hometown favorite right here. We got Josh Fredrickson rocking the number 54. He's from Seattle, Washington. Josh Fredrickson, he is in his second year of the NSC after taking a pretty long hiatus from skating.
That's right.
You know, Josh took about 8 years off from skating, came back a couple years ago.
That long.
It was, man.
Wow.
And he came back, got really fit, made the league last year, made the podium a couple of times, and here he is in his 100-meter time trial.
Yeah. You know, again, even for the fact that he's an endurance, he's one of our Pro NSC endurance athletes. Look at the top end speed you can see as the pads go by and how quick they are accelerating. He's a top level athlete after only having skated for 2 years in the NSC.
Tough break for Josh there on that final corner. Looks like he lost his footing a little bit on his right foot.
And that happens, you know, at this level, when you're dealing with millimeters and you're dealing with someone going through Josh might be 150, 160 pounds at 5'11".
Right.
You got a guy going through the turn like that. That's 350 or 400 pounds. You know what I mean? On those four little patches of wheels of urethane that sometimes it just gives.
Yeah, absolutely. And he still ran a 9.3. So I mean, in terms of making a mistake, that's still a pretty respectable time for making such a huge mistake.
You know, and that little mistake only cost him 0.2 of a second. But they say in racing, sometimes top 10 places can be decided in hundreds of seconds, which is that means that's only 1/10 of a second for first attempt.
Right, 100%. And we've got Wesley Gandy now. He's going to get the crowd pumped up. Let's see what Wesley can do. Wesley's been a guy.
Out of Colorado, huh?
Yeah, Wesley came over. He's living out of Colorado Springs now, training with Kelly Springer. Kelly Springer, always a awesome guy at all of our events. He's pretty much Mr. Fix-It. If there's something that needs to be done and someone else can't do it, I guarantee Kelly Springer will get it done.
And Kelly was a big influence in my life. He first. Let's see how Wesley does here first.
Oh, here he goes across the timeline now. Let's see what he's got now. He's got a top time in the NSC of 8.71. Let's see if Wesley can lower that time today.
Look at that cross. He crossed all the way out. That was a quick time. Even though you see these guys rolling in. 9.23. So even though you see these guys being dynamic coming out, or maybe not stepping right away going in, but they make up for those exits, guys.
Absolutely, they are hooking up when they get out of that turn and making it look easy on that one for Wesley Gandy.
Yep, really, really smooth. And I was saying before, Kelly's been coaching for a long time. My first ever outdoor national or outdoor bank track clinic when I was 14 was with Kelly Springer, and he threw me in the deep end. And from that point, he gave me so many pointers and so many things that changed my skating as well. So many people have touched my skating life, but he was from the very beginning was a very, very pivotal part of my career. Even when I was still coaching or skating for my parents, Kelly was the guy in my ear when we used to be able to race with earbuds at nationals. He used to be in my ear. He used to do that because for some reason I responded to him very well. My mom would be there. My dad's never been to outdoor nationals, but my mom would be there. But for some reason, I responded extremely well to Kelly, and we knew that on distance races. In sprint races, my mom would be in my ear. We'd be talking or whatever it was. But for some reason, Kelly has always been the guy that I've been able to respond to extremely well. And it goes to show right there that he can continually bring generations of athletes up.
Well, holy smokes, speaking of next generation, here comes Zach Sungya. Holy smokes.
Wow.
Zach's tossing that timeline with a point to prove.
That's right. You know, he's like 6'2", like 180 pounds. He's a big boy trying to get around these tiny turns that you know, you got guys like Jarrett Paul and Brandon Hall and Joey Harmon, these smaller, shorter guys that are able to get around the turn. And he's a big guy getting around big turns. Wow. Told you. 8.8
for Zach Sungyao.
And even though that's incredible, that is absolutely incredible. Look at that. That's you know, 3/10 off the current leader before him.
Holy smokes.
I mean, we still have some room to go possibly, but that is going to be a hard mark to beat.
That is going to be a hard mark to beat on a night like tonight. But, you know, we spoke about it earlier. Zach very well could be the fastest indoor skater.
Absolutely.
He just, again, hasn't been able to consistently put it together.
Yeah, exactly. You know, sometimes that's race experience. Sometimes that's just, you know, going through the motions and being like, I just love speed skating. I love, you know, he has a very mild-mannered personality.
Absolutely. Very happy-go-lucky guy.
Very, very happy-go-lucky guy. So sometimes, you know, the racing doesn't work out the way he wants it to, or the situation doesn't work out. But I'll tell you what, that proved right there that he's one of our top-level athletes 100%.
No doubt about it. And speaking of top-level athletes, we got Silky Smooth, Jarrett Paul, the Tampa, Florida product. Now, Jarrett's ran an 8.4 before. I don't know that he'll get to the 8.4 range, but I'll tell you what, he may be able to beat Zach's 8.8, and that's all that matters at this point.
That's right. You know, you don't know for sure, but he's going to be, I think it's going to be real tough to beat Zach, but if anyone can do it, it's going to be one of these guys, this guy right here.
Holy smokes,
a bit of a slip
he is
there.
moving.
A little slip again. Waiting on pins and needles, guys. I'm excited to hear it, too. That was a great...
Oh,
wow.
8.888. Not quite good enough to beat Zach Sungyao.
That guy, right? You hear that guy? That's hundredths of a second.
Hundredths of a second.
You know what I mean? And that's just incredible that all these athletes are at such a level that so many of them can be so close that they're within hundredths of a second. Over 100 meters.
Oh my
with
goodness.
Different body shapes and sizes and techniques. That's just incredible.
Oh my goodness, that was pretty fun to watch.
I've got the chills here thinking about these guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's incredible.
We'll talk about dynamic. We've got the Mamba, number 90, Mo Hall. He is absolutely one of the fan favorites as you hear the crowd going nuts for the Mamba.
That's right. You know, he's even though you got Stelly who's dynamic and he's a character and Mo is the crowd favorite 100% because he gives love just as much back to the crowd as they give to him. And they feed off each other. The crowd and Mo, the Black Mamba, feed off each other.
There is no doubt about that. The Mamba is here, and it looks like he is ready to throw something down. We'll see what the Mamba can do.
Predictions. You got a prediction?
You know, the Mamba's ran an 8.49. That's his fastest time.
Okay.
I'm going to predict here that Mamba goes 8.8. I think he might lower the time here.
I don't know.
Wall kick. Wall kick's going to kill him, though, Josh. I don't think he got it. That wall kick.
I don't think he got it, but
Yeah.
he had a lot less slips or adjustments that Jarrett had to do. 9.0. I didn't expect that. That looks a lot more dynamic and a lot quicker. You know, he came through this pylon 3 where we're sitting here with a lot more speed, so I didn't expect it to be at the 9.0.
When you see him, you kind of saw him entering that second corner here before that final turn, and he kicked that pad, and I think that really slowed his momentum enough to not be able to become the new race leader. But I tell you what, we do have one more left, and if anybody's going to beat him, it's going to be this guy.
That's right. You got Zach Sungyao. We said it's still on the top leaderboard that we're not surprised about, but he's there. You know, and anybody, I expected Silky because he's a technician.
Right.
And you've got Mo, who's just a random.
Right.
You don't know what's going to happen.
You never know what's going to happen with
but
Mo.
This guy is the most consistent, top level, top speed athlete, and a technician again in the sport right now. Brandon Hall.
Absolutely. You know, Brandon's got 11 wins in his NSC career. He's been on the podium 28 times. He's a 2-time grand champion. Completely dominated the last 2 events.
That's right.
And oh my goodness gracious, he is cooking already.
You see the explosiveness, and you see how low he is. He's actually lower than every other athlete out there, and he's still 5'11", 6 foot. He's a big guy to be getting that low.
Holy
That's
smokes!
incredible. I didn't see one fault. 8.7.
That's got to be 8.7.
8.76, 8.74.
That's got to be an 8.7.
Oh my goodness!
No No way! 8.93
Wow!
is the official time. He looked.
That's
I'll tell you what,
look at that.
They might have to check that timer because that looked a lot faster than an 8.93.
That looked a lot faster. But I'll tell you what, that just goes to show you that anything can happen in speed skating. When you expect something to happen, think again because the other thing's going to happen, you know?
And it goes back down to Zach Sungyao. Again, an extremely talented skater, 100% capable, and tonight is the fastest man on skates.
He's the fastest man on skates, and it was obvious. You know, the next closest was 0.6 of a second, I believe it was, or maybe 7. So you're looking at over half a second that he had on these guys, and over half a second is huge in a one lap.
That's incredible. I mean, when you think about that is
a lifetime.
That is a lifetime in a 100-meter race. So again, Zach Sungyao taking it home. That's a pretty incredible feat for the young man out of Federal Way, Washington.
Yeah, that's incredible. A half a second or 0.6 of a second in a 100-meter. You ask any of those Olympic athletes, ice skaters that are out there, if I could pick up a half a second in a one lap in 100 meters, especially guys like long trackers that have a 400-meter,
sure,
that's 2 seconds.
That's easily.
I'll take 2 seconds a lap.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's incredible that he was able to keep that speed like that. It was just incredible.
Well, you know what? That gives Zach the opportunity to stamp his ticket into the Grand Champions race, and
that's right.
Could definitely be a wild card. He's been in the Grand
Absolutely.
Champions race a couple times before. Check my stat sheets. It looks like he's been there twice. He's never won any, but that does not mean he can't be the guy. And again, with the top end speed, if he can be anywhere in that top 3,
Absolutely.
You never know what can happen on those last couple of laps.
Absolutely. We said it before, but the best part about these top level athletes, it doesn't matter who's on the floor right now. Any of these guys could win. Absolutely, any of these guys could win. Whoever woke up on that day.
Right.
The top world level athletes on inline, ice, in the world in general of outdoor. It doesn't matter. Anyone who wakes up in the morning and happens to win, that's who's going to win. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know.
You don't know. No, exactly. And I
but they're all capable of it.
Apologize for my eyes wandering, just trying to get our 100-meter champ over here to the sound booth, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. But we'll catch up with Zach Sungyao a little bit later.
Shaking hands and kissing babies. And when you're the 100-meter champion,
when you're the fastest man on skates, I tell you what, you got some obligations. And
that's right.
Kissing babies and shaking hands is definitely one of those things. Well, it looks like we're getting our ladies warmed up for their 100-meter time trial. Pretty excited to see these ladies, see what type of time they can throw down.
That's right. Any predictions for this one?
Oh, man.
Seeing Francesca in that 300 meter.
Right, she looks fast.
Dude,
Aaron
amazing.
Jackson, he's going to be in the mix. China Moses is good for a lap.
That's right. And now again, because you take the race element out of it completely, you have no clue what could happen. These girls are all top-level athletes, and without having to pass and be dynamic within the racing situation.
Yeah, you just get to go.
You just get to go. Yep.
You got nothing in front of you, nothing behind you.
That's right.
All of you, and I think that's one really neat thing about this format. This kind of flying time trial has been very, really fun to watch, and I think a lot of other coaches around the country and meet directors around the country have taken notice of that format.
Yes.
You see at a lot of the big invitationals these days, they're doing that 100-meter flying time trial.
Yeah, which is great because again, it's always that one of those run what you brung. With the run what you brung, when you got a race, you can always say, oh, someone stepped on my skate, or I got kicked a pylon. I would have raced. I would have won for sure. I got fouled out. I should have won. Oh, we've all done that. Gotten fouled out and said, oh, I could have won that. Which it doesn't matter.
Nope.
On the 100-meter, you've got no problems. Everything that happens is your fault or your choice or your decision.
There's no place to hide in that flying time trial.
Yep.
Well, Josh, we're going to bring Zach Sungyao onto the set with us and interview our fastest man on skates. Zach Sungyao.
What up, man?
Hey, man, congratulations. You were able to throw down the fastest time of the night, obviously giving you the title of fastest man on skates.
Yeah.
People were kind of complaining about the floor conditions a little bit, and I know that they're not pristine. Obviously, we've had better floor conditions, but you ran an 8.8, so obviously you can skate pretty darn fast on the floor.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely just, it was slick, but I was like, I just got to skate through it. Everyone has the same floor conditions. You just got to go out and make it the best.
Right, you're 100% right. It isn't like you skate on a different floor than anyone else, and you being able to turn out the fastest time is pretty impressive. Now, Zach, that puts you in the Grand Champions race for the third time in your career. You've yet to get one. What is your strategy going in tonight for that Grand Champions race?
Honestly, I'm still determining what the strategy is going to be because it's 8 laps and it could be anybody's race.
It definitely could. I know Josh and I were talking on the mic just before we brought you on the set.
Yeah.
In a race like the NSC, everybody's so talented, anybody can win.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that you feel like is your biggest threat?
well, everybody can be a threat because one person can pass another person, take each other out, and then
Sure.
two spots are open right there. So
And that
we'll see what
opens up some
happens.
opportunities,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
We'll definitely be seeing what happens in the 8-lap race.
Well, you've got the 500-meter race coming up. What are your thoughts on this one coming up here shortly?
Well, my thoughts are try to get top 3 on the start and just wait patiently a little bit, try to get up front. Don't panic too much and just wait for my opportunity to get up front.
Right, stay on your feet, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's definitely half the battle, especially in those shorter races. Well, Zach, congratulations on the win in the 100. We're definitely looking forward to you skating the 5,
Yeah.
but certainly looking forward to you skating in that Grand Champions race as you've already punched your ticket.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited.
Anything you want to say to the folks at home?
I just want to thank you everybody for the support and happy you're watching.
All right. Well, hey, Zach Sung, everybody. Thanks, Zach.
Thanks, guys.
We'll catch up with you a little bit later.
All right, thank you.
All right. So, guys, ladies and gentlemen, our Zach Sungyao, pretty incredible young man in terms of when he wants to do it, he can do it. We hopefully can see him want to do it a little bit more as the season progresses. Well, guys, we are getting ready, and we're warming up our 300-meter finals for our girls, a 500-meter final for the men, as well as a 1,000-meter final for the endurance athletes, where we get to see all of our grand champions, all 3 of them, Brandon Hall, Jarrett Paul, and Francesca Bell, get ready for action. All 3 of those athletes already punched their ticket to the Grand Champions race tonight, and certainly got a lot more racing left to do as we continue on with Season 7. Definitely like to take this opportunity once again to thank our sponsors. Want to thank our title sponsor, Cato Modus, for all the support. Pure Speed Skating Company makes some of the best products available. Make sure you check out their website, check out their Facebook. Definitely want to give a shout out to Bones Bearings. You guys have been incredible, providing us the finest bearings in the land. Also like to thank Vi 13 Custom Apparel. They've really produced us with some of the sweetest looking uniforms I've ever laid eyes on. Incredibly excited to have this company aboard here in NSC Season 7. And definitely wanted to give a shout out to Kurt LeBeta and TLTF Manufacturing. They produced the NSC Alpha wheel, and again, this is the best wheel I've skated on, and I tell you what, I think it's going to catch fire this summer. So if you're looking for regional wheels, you're getting ready for nationals, pre-order yours today at shop.pronsc.com and get you either the soft or medium version of our NSC Alpha.
That's right. You know, Kurt has always made a great wheel. I've worked with him for years, and being able to be a part of that is just seeing the man work like that is just really great. So the fact that he's come out with such a great wheel and all these top-level athletes, you know, Zach Sanya is skating that 8.3. The fact that he's coming out here on this floor condition, it's amazing. It's a true testament to the wheel itself.
100%. I could not agree more. Well, I tell you what, we're going to put these wheels to the test again right now, Josh. We've got the women's 300-meter final coming up in lane number 1, Francesca Bell. Lane number 2, Erin Jackson. Lane number 3, Cheyenne Moses. And lane number 4, we've got Missy Perry. In lane 5, we got number 17, our youngest racer, Allie Fander. And rounding out our field, we've got Mackenzie Brown. This should be a fun one, Josh. I think it's going to come down to who can start well and who can hold off the rest, because I really believe with these conditions, if you can get out in the front, you might have a chance.
Absolutely. You know, again, any of these ladies have a chance, but that start is pivotal. You know, in a sprint like this, first or second, that's good. What's going to put you there. So it's super important to have that start, just like you know, you've got Francesca or you've got Cheyenne Moses, and you've got, you know, Erin Jackson, to have that great start being sprinter specifics.
And we got a clean start, and look at that. And we got Cheyenne Moses and Erin Jackson. Erin Jackson beats her off the start, but Cheyenne Moses goes right back up.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, isn't able to make the pass. We're going to cross the time limit with 2 laps to go. Shy's still making a try for it.
That's right. You know,
don't think she's going to make it that time. Here comes Francesca Bell, though. She's got some power, ladies and gentlemen. There goes Francesca. We're going to cross the time line with 1 lap to go. But she's not going to hold it. Oh, as they race. Oh, into that first corner. They last. Oh, my goodness. They're getting in that last lap, and they're going to cross the timeline. Unofficially, it's Erin Jackson, Francesca Bell, and Cheyenne Moses.
You know, it was incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, Cheyenne just kept digging. You see that she tried to pass 4 different times on both of those girls, or 2 each, and that just goes to show you right there that how strong she is, even after taking off time and coming back, how strong she is to almost win the start against a world medalist. against two world team members,
Right.
and to still throw the passes that she
Holy
was throwing or
smokes,
attempting.
yeah.
You know, but you've got girls like Erin Jackson, you got girls like Francesca Bell that know how to protect the position. That's
Right.
the difference. When you
Right.
get past like that, that elite level athlete right there will protect, whereas China will learn again how to do those things that these girls are able to do, but she's just incredibly powerful. She's one to definitely keep an eye on.
Definitely keep an eye on Cheyenne Moses. Like you said, she took a few years off.
Yeah.
You know, she tried out for NSC, absolutely looked phenomenal in the sprint races at the tryouts. So I knew that she had a chance in that 300 meter, and she definitely showed that she can hang.
Yep, exactly. You know, you go through trials, or you see the 100 meter time trial, which we haven't seen the girls go off yet, but you know, you see these girls do the time trials, and you see them at practice all day long, and you see them say, okay, they look good. You know, they don't look as good as Erin, or they don't look as good as Francesca. You know, these top level girls, and you see Cheyenne, like, she looks good, yeah. But then you see that in a race situation,
Right.
in a full max sprint, she proved that she's going to be a top level athlete in the NSC for a long time to come.
Absolutely, Josh. Well, we got the men's coming up now, the sprint division specifically. We've got two hometown guys in lane 1 and lane 2, and Jeremy Anderson and Brandon Hall, respectively. In lane number 3, we've got Stephen Carter rocking the number 10, straight out of Philadelphia, PA. Shout out to the Carter family. I know you guys are watching at home. In lane number 4, the wild card, they call him the Mamba, Mo Hall.
For sure that no matter what race he's in, be it 100 laps or a half a lap, he's going to be the one to watch. You never know what he's going to do. Wow. You know, he won the Grand Championship last year, wasn't
Yeah, you bet.
he? We took off, or yeah, second, I'm sorry.
It was at the first event. and
Yeah, he almost got first because he took off with 5 to go. No
Yeah,
one
he did.
expected in a Grand Champ race for him to take off like that the way he did, and he hurt the pack. He set the pace, and nobody could get around him except for Brandon.
Well, we got Jose Bordas rocking the 00. Love Jose's story. I'm really excited for him to continue on his journey.
And the statue, Franklin
Right.
Hewitt over here, just
Oh,
like
my goodness.
the pinnacle of form of the human form. Let's see what he can do.
Absolutely. You know, when you look at Franklin, you just go, man, that guy's just way too big to be
He's
skating.
way too big. You look at Jeremy Anderson in first at the pylon 1, and you look at Franklin over here and the body differences, and you say, how do these guys both go the same speed? How are
Right.
these guys hauling butt around these turns?
Well, I tell you what, that's one of the neatest things I think about inline speed is that you can have a guy that's skinny, you can have a guy that's bigger, and they can still go fast.
Absolutely. You know, I spent a couple of years at the world level of ice speed skating, not at the Olympics, but at the world level of ice speed skating, and you get to see a bit of a, whoa, that was a bit of a
Yeah,
jump.
we got to call the jumps, and I don't think they
S-Dot.
called it. S-Dot looked like he got away with one. But Brandon Hall says, it doesn't matter, you can jump because I'm going to still win the start.
Exactly.
And here goes
Oh,
Brandon.
there's
He's
the
going to
pylon.
pick up the pace a little bit. We lost the pylon. We got 4 laps to go. Brandon Hall picking up the pace now. S-Dot Carter in that second spot.
That's
Franklin
right.
Hewitt holding down the third spot, but here comes the Mamba.
And don't discount the Mamba. And then you've got Zach
Holy
Songyao there.
smokes, here
right
comes
there in
Zach
fifth.
Songyao now.
And
Oh,
Jose,
my
look
goodness,
at
we can't-
Jose. Look at him sitting there behind a 100-meter time trial champion, looking like Jose's going to make a pass.
Here we're going to go. Here we go. We're going to hit the timeline.
Brandon.
1 lap to go. Brandon. Oh, Franklin Hewitt now. Oh, but
Oh, my
Stephen Carter
goodness.
takes that opportunity pass that you talked
Absolutely.
about again. And it looks like S-Dot's going to finish again in second place.
Incredible.
Wow.
One of our veteran skaters of the NSC, and a veteran skater that I remember seeing at the world level in the 90s.
Wow.
Coming out
That's
here
incredible.
in the
And
top 3 again.
And look, I tell you what, Josh, we talked about it early in the show. It doesn't matter what you did yesterday.
No one
It
cares.
doesn't matter what you did at practice last
That's
night,
right.
okay? When you get into the race against the other guys, you've got to race them. And Stephen Carter showing why he's one of the greatest racers to ever put on a uniform.
Yeah, you know, it's just proof right there how good he is and how much it's ingrained in his body to speed skate.
Yes,
You can't-
absolutely.
You know what I mean? He's been doing it for a long time. Again, I made world team with him a few times. That is proof right there that man has made the speed skate. Even if he wasn't, he made it his body speed skate.
That is 100%
At
right.
his level, it's great. You know, and for Brandon, you know, I had a little chat with him in between the races there. I went to the restroom real quick and came back and said, hey, man, that 100-meter, what do you think? He's like, oh, you know, it looked like a sore subject. And I don't know about you, but you see the way he took off the way he did against the 100-meter trial champion, Zach Songyao. Zach was back in 5th. You know, I don't know if that was Brandon trying to make a point, but if that was what it was, he definitely made that
I was
point.
gonna say point taken.
That's right.
And Brandon Hall continuing his dominance on the sprint division, taking back-to-back wins in those events.
That's right.
Well, here we go, man. We've got the 1,000 meter. The 1,000 is one of my favorite distances to watch because, yes, it's technically an endurance race, but you can't go slow.
That's right. Well, that's the thing they say about the 1,000 meter at the World Championship in outdoor level and at the national level. It is the longest sprint.
Longest sprint ever.
There is no. Again, it is strategy, and there is a point where there's race strategy, and there's a place to relax, but it's still a sprint. These guys won't drop below 9.5, 9.6, and they'll be running that the whole time. The 1,000 meters just fast enough to try to hurt your competition and protect your position in the first 3 laps or 4 laps. There might be a lap to a lap and a half where you get to rest or settle in, but there's not that much time because then it's only 4 laps to go.
That's it.
Then it's time to turn and burn time here.
Well, we've got a pretty stacked field here. We got Bobby Beers from Harrisburg, PA, Harry Hallett out of Denver, Colorado, Silky Smooth Jarrett Paul rocking the number 20 out of Tampa, Florida, Joey Harmon, the Greensboro, North Carolina product, hometown guy Josh Fredrickson in the number 54, and rounding out your field, the Ragin' Cajun from Kaplan, Louisiana, Justin Stelly. And they left the guy off the list. How can you forget about Wesley Gandy?
How do you forget about Wesley Gandy?
You can't forget about Wesley Gandy. He's a guy that's going to be sneaky. He's going to make his way to the front and make it very difficult for the rest of the pack to pass.
That's right. Again, you talk to Wesley, and he's a very mild-mannered, really nice guy. Really cool to hang out with. Then you come out here, and he is just always right in that. He's a
now.
force to be reckoned with at any point of the race.
I was joking around with him. I said, Wes, you're always such a happy guy, except for when you skate.
That's a killer instinct that these athletes need to have. Once again,
boy, I have to tell you what, our referees might have missed that one too, but I don't think it mattered as much in this one. We got Harmon. As he crossed the timeline with 9 laps to go, he's going to control the pace early. We got Beers and Jarrett Paul in that 3rd spot. We got Harry Hallett creeping around there, and he's getting ready to throw some bombs pretty soon.
That's right. Wesley Gandy before,
Woo, speaking of bombs.
There you go. There, Justin Stelly making the hammer.
Stelly making a move.
See, there you go. That's
Here it is.
8 laps to go. Now 7 to go, guys. You don't know what's going to happen now. They all waited for that, 40 or 50, 60 meters. Who's going to go? And now that might be too late.
It might be too late because Justin Stelly, he's got the endurance to make this happen now,
That's
Josh.
Right. He's got the endurance to make it happen, and he's just an amazing athlete on his feet. You see that boy playing around the middle floor, doing backflips or whatever he does.
We're losing pylons left and right.
Yeah, they're losing pylons everywhere, but you see him out there. He's just an amazing person on his skates.
Oh, here comes Jarrett Paul, though. 4 laps to go now. We got Justin Stelly,
right.
Jarrett Paul, Wesley Gandy, your top 3. Joey Harmon and Josh Fredrickson, though, right there in the 4th and 5th spot, respectively.
So, Joey Harmon's catching up with
here we
Wesley
go
Gandy
now.
there.
Jarrett Paul, he's starting to pick it up now.
That's right, doing the same windup. Brandon talked about that with 6 laps to go. Justin beat him to the punch on that one for this race here. But, he dropped the hammer. Now he's picking it up, just doing his windup like he has before.
Absolutely.
You see these guys out here doing what they need to do. 1 to go.
Oh, we had an inadvertent cowbell. That was not good by our crew. That was not supposed to happen. I hope Justin Stelly isn't.
Here comes Wes to the line.
Goodness.
To the line
They got to race to the line. Okay.
And, look at Joey Harmon in there.
Oh, Joey Harmon in the mix right there. That looked pretty close.
He was mixed in there on the last one, too. He kind of threw it in there on Wes Gandy again, so you never know what happened there.
Tell you what,
we can't call it.
In terms of improvement, Joey Harmon, he missed out on NSC Season 6 by just 1 placement at trials. And
that's right.
It looks like he went back to the drawing board in Greensboro, started putting some pieces together, and definitely putting together a little bit better showing here.
That's right. Whatever blueprints he got approved, definitely working here.
They're working all right.
Because, you go from not making the cut to all of a sudden you're in the top 2 or 3 or 4 of our endurance athletes. That's just proof right there that he made a big change and it's working.
Absolutely. It's definitely working, and incredibly excited for Joe.
Absolutely.
Well, right now, Josh, it's almost like the showdown is being set.
Yes, it is. There's a lot of measuring that's been going on all week and a lot of trash talking, and the measurements have happened. And now the stage is being set for a lot of this stuff to kind of pan out, and these guys kind of know where they're at now.
Yes.
But they haven't backed down. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
They have not backed down. But, they've set the stage for an amazing, absolutely amazing Grand Champions race.
Oh, my goodness. And it was almost like we wrote it up. I mean, I don't think we could have planned this any better to see two guys that were their respective seasons champions come out, prove a point, get to business, and win both of their races within their division.
That's right. In season 4, I know Brandon was in the mix and he was in the NSC, but he definitely wasn't as what seemed to be focused. I don't know what something was different. Maybe Miguel coming back to skating practice far more in those last couple of years, maybe kind of reignited a spark, or actually maybe just ignited the spark that he needed.
Sure.
That Brandon has stepped up so much in the last 2 or 3 years as an athlete in the NSC. That Silky never really got to contest against him, and now, like you said, the stage is set.
Yeah,
they have set basically the last 3 years.
Oh my goodness,
I'm getting the chills.
Yeah,
the last 3 years, you've got Brandon the last 2 years just dominating, and Silky the year before. So
Silky,
we'll see.
I'll tell you what, man, these guys are putting on a show for our crowd here in Tacoma. It's awesome seeing so many faces that I don't know. Typically at skating events, it's skating people.
Yeah.
And I think NSC is really starting to change that dynamic and trying to produce a product that is more appealing to the general public.
Yep.
And I'm looking at the crowd, and I've got pretty good eyesight, and I'm not recognizing a lot of these people in the crowd.
Absolutely. Miguel has done an amazing job. Anybody who loves speed skating or who's speed skating already loves it. You do it because you don't come in at 4 in the morning
that's easy.
for a meet. Stick around till noon or 1 or 2 or 3 o'clock and race these guys. But it's Miguel being able to put it on a platform and show how cool our sport is. That's why those faces that you don't recognize are here. So it's really great to see Miguel getting the results of the years and the money that he's put into the sport.
I'm pointing to Aaron Jackson. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
Trying to get a hold of Aaron over here.
We're trying to get a hold of our 300-meter champ, Aaron Jackson.
That's right. Don't forget, guys, I don't know if you guys see the guy out there rolling around in the center. That's Joey, Olympian Joey Mantilla.
A few of you guys might know him.
That's right. Maybe you guys know who that is. He's out cruising around. Decided to fly in late last night, kind of a last-minute thing, and he's out there cruising around holding our GoPro for us.
Yeah, Joey getting some pretty awesome footage. I know he's enjoying himself and having fun putting on the roller skates again. Well, we're going to bring to the set our 300-meter champ, Aaron Jackson. Aaron, we've raced a few 300s in the last 2 years, and so far I've talked to you every single time. Talk about the race a little bit and how you felt at the end.
Well, with a 300, I guess my strategy is pretty simple. You got to win the start and stay in front. So, it's the only race that I've won at every event, so I don't plan on giving it up anytime soon.
Well, you're definitely the champion of the 300. Talk about one athlete, though, that was mixing it up a little bit in there with you, Cheyenne Moses. Mm-hmm. That is as close as I've ever seen anyone on a start, except for that one time he lost to Brittany Bowe last year on the start. Pretty good little talent coming up.
Yeah, I mean, it's always really nice to see new people come in and mix it up with the pros, So, it's really awesome to have some new people step up. There's no doubt that you're stepping up in a major way. You've been to the Grand Champion race every time you've been in it, but you have not won one yet. Nope. Is there? Do you feel like that's a point you want to prove tonight to be able to win that Grand Champion black suit? Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, it's my goal every time, but thinking this time, we'll see. Well, you're certainly putting on a show for everybody here in Tacoma and obviously across the globe. Thank you so much, Aaron. Is there anyone you want to give any shout-outs to at home? I want to give a shout-out to my coach, Renee Hildebrand, and, of course, Debbie Rice, my manager. Well, you're doing a phenomenal job representing them very well. Good job, Aaron. We will see you in the 100-meter time trial coming up. But most importantly, good luck in that Grand Champions race tonight. Thank you very much. All right, Aaron Jackson, ladies and gentlemen, one of the classiest people you could ever meet in our sport, and certainly one of the fastest people that you'd ever see in our sport.
It's absolutely, it's so sweet. And again, a lot of these athletes that you think that football players or basketball players that are throwing themselves out there and making an image for themselves, and they got to put the attitude out there. And even though these guys and girls out here do have an attitude when they're skating, you can see the personality differences. They're all still great people, And that's what's so great about representing our sport that way. I agree 100%. When you get a chance to sit down and talk to a lot of these athletes, they're just down to earth. You would never know Aaron Jackson's a world champion. You'd never know. That's right, no clue. What I mean, you would never know that by just her demeanor, the way she approaches skating, the way she approaches just pretty much everything in her life. I mean, she's one of the smartest people in skating. That's a lot of people don't realize that she has. Did she just get a degree? Is that correct? Was last year. Yeah. She graduated from University of Florida, a degree in engineering. Yeah, that's unreal. Yeah, said makes sense. Not many speed skaters ever, right? No, it makes sense though because she's so technical. Again, being a sprinter, you have to the nth degree to find those things. So the fact that she's has a degree in engineering, it just makes sense. Absolutely, I didn't know it was engineering, to be honest. That's incredible. Good for her.
Man, I tell you what, watching this event tonight makes me pretty excited for the rest of this season. I really just think this crew of people that we have in the league this year couldn't be a better group. Definitely some good character, but certainly some of the fastest racers you can find.
Absolutely. Again, like we talked about earlier, you can say who's the fastest, or Joey's the fastest, or Bart's the fastest, or whoever it might be or Apollo was the fastest inliner. It doesn't matter, because on this platform, we are showing right now that at these times and these conditions, these guys are the fastest inline speed skaters for indoor in the world.
Absolutely. I don't think there's anybody else out there that's going to beat them. And if there is, we want you to come. If you are an international skater and you really love the NSC, you're watching tonight, and you're like, hey, I want to be a part of this.
Absolutely.
All you got to do is hit up Miguel at ProNSC.com. Let him know your credentials, and we'd love to have you racing in the NSC as well.
Absolutely. The more the merrier. The fact that we can say on our record too that, hey, we've got international athletes, we've got speed skaters from all over the world coming and skating. That's just going to make our sport that much more valid. And that's what we're trying to do here, is validate this platform.
Yes.
That's exactly what we're doing.
Right. There's no doubt about it, and I think these races are showing you tonight. We had an opportunity a year ago, well, a little bit less than a year ago, I guess, to head down to Cali, Colombia and host our first ever international event, and the response was overwhelming.
Absolutely.
It was incredible. Shout out to everyone in Colombia. You guys are completely amazing.
Yep.
And specifically shout out to two skaters that made the trek up here for our season finale. Ciro Lopez and Daniela Mendoza. If you guys are watching, man, we miss you guys. We really hope to see you again this season in the NSC, because you guys are not only tremendous athletes, but you guys are really great people, and exactly the type of people we want representing our sport.
Absolutely, and a little bit of an enticer. We were hoping to get them up here. The fact that, at VI 13, we have all the names and numbers specifically made for the athletes. We made them their suits, so we're hoping that they'll come up and take those over and represent themselves on this platform in the NSC.
So Ciro, Daniela, we got your uniforms ready to go.
We got wheels, we're ready.
We got your wheels, we got your bearings. You just let us know if you guys are going to be able to make the event for the second event or even third event. Heck, we'll take you whenever you guys can make it up here. You guys are phenomenal skaters. And we've got another one out here on the track right now in Lonnie Nicole. Let's see what Lonnie can throw down here as she crosses the timeline. She's got one lap to go.
It was a bit of a bobble right before her one lapper started, but she grabbed it back really nicely. She's tightened up and kept a really good track on that lap.
Oh, nice hawk at the end there. Looks like she ran a 10-1 out there. Had a couple of slips, so I know Lonnie can go a little faster than that. But again, this is Lonnie's first professional event as well. Lonnie is certainly no rookie, so it's very, I think, rude and probably disrespectful to call such a great skater a rookie. But it is her first event. There could be some nerves there. There's definitely a lot of factors when you're competing against the best for the first time.
Well, that's right. Being a USA Roller Sports inline world team member, just because she's a rookie in the sport or in the platform of NSC, does not mean she's a slouch at all. She's been at that level, at the world level, skating along with a lot of these girls, that now she's decided to make her move into the NSC. Yeah. That proves that she, even though she, like you said, she's considered a rookie, she's still showing that she's a top-level athlete.
Absolutely. We got Bree Bocox coming up. I know her dad's out there watching. Shout out. We appreciate all your support and your kids doing some really good things. We're excited about what she's doing on the ice. And I know that even though she hasn't had a lot of floor time, you haven't heard her complain one time.
Not one bit.
It isn't about what you haven't done or what you're not ready for. It's about taking on the challenge. And Bree is certainly taking on the challenge today. Let's see if she can improve that time of 10-1 set down by Lonnie Nicole.
Yeah, a lot of these guys, they don't worry about what they can't control. They only worry about what they can. You can't control the floor conditions. You can't control the wheels. You can't control the humidity. Whatever you were worrying about, you can't control it. You only worry about what you can control. That's turning your feet over and going as fast as you can, just like she is now.
Is not going to beat it. 10.19. Wow. So close, but no cigar this time for Bree. And again, I know that when Bree starts turning a little bit more, I'm sure she'll have a little bit better showing. But when you get on that big old 400-meter oval,
that's right.
It's a little bit different animal.
That's right. She hasn't. I'm not sure how much inline they've been skating over there, but right now is the time of the season where their summer base trade. Their season just ended.
Right.
A month and a half ago. They haven't even really begun to ramp it up for the World Cup season approaching. Again, we don't make excuses or reasons or anything, but the fact that she hasn't been on her skates it's just incredible that she's still able to come out here and still skate on the level that she just did.
No, I agree 100%. I know there's going to be a lot more good things to come from Bree Bocox as the season progresses. Well, we've got our youngest skater in the NSC. Extremely excited about Allie Fander. I've gotten to know Allie very, very well over the last 4 years. She's like a little sister to me, and she can skate.
NSC sweetheart here, huh?
I tell you what, and one thing is crazy about Allie is you don't want to race her. That kid can race, and I know that she's a very technical skater as well. Let's see what kind of time she can throw down as she approaches the NSC timeline. She's going to have one lap to do it.
Yeah, we've like you said, the last 4 years, I saw her grow up as well. When she was a little 7, 8-year-old girl running around with mom at meets, playing around with video games and other girls, and to see her develop into such a strong athlete, it's awesome.
Super hawk! Holy smokes!
Wow,
9.49, burning up the track. Allie Fander.
Wow!
Holy smokes!
0.6 of a second, guys, and that hawk at the end, and to bring it back up. That's composure, that's strength, that's ability, that's just, wow.
I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, if I tried to hawk like that, they'd still be picking me up off the ground.
That's right.
For days to come. Allie Fander, your new race leader. Good job by Allie Fander, throwing down a 9.49. That's going to be a tough one to follow for the ladies coming up.
That's right. She's going to definitely make a statement here in the next couple of years in speed skating.
At 16 years old, she's already pulled a 4th place in the long race. I'm not sure where she ended up in that 500, probably in a similar spot, in that 5th or 6th spot.
Yeah.
But again, definitely a skater that I think you're going to see a lot more of in the NSC as the years go on.
That's right. Mackenzie Brown coming up here skating, giving love to the crowd here. I'd mentioned before that she was a track cycling athlete. I'm not sure not many people know, but she was the collegiate national champion, the collegiate national champion on track cycling. And she's developed quite a bit in the last couple of years, also being an inline world team member for USA Roller Sports.
You bet. Mackenzie, again, kind of going with the theme of a lot of our athletes, just a class act. Just, a college student.
Yep.
She's balancing, skating, cycling,
and work.
School, work.
Yeah, incredible.
And really never having anything ill will to say to anybody about
Absolutely. Based on her athleticism and what she received from USA Roller Sports at being a world team member, she works. Look at that.
9.62 for Mackenzie.
Unreal. Wow.
So she's not going to get Allie, but boy, that's a pretty good time for Mackenzie.
Time. Absolutely great time.
Very
considering some of the guys are skating 9.1s and 9.2s, I know with some slips, but these girls are right on par with some of our top level guys.
Mackenzie's best was a 9.52 a year ago, so based on the floor conditions, really not that far off of her record pace.
I think for the guys, it's probably a little bit less, maybe 0.15 of a second, but for the women at these speeds and these conditions, you can give them 0.2 or 0.21 seconds, or 21 hundredths for sure, easily.
We got Missy Perry. I got my nickname for her. She's a firecracker.
Yeah.
She is not the tallest lady you'll ever meet, but I tell you what, she has a huge personality.
Absolutely. Where is she based out of?
She is training with the Pasquarello. Excuse me, Stephanie. I know you just killed me. I'm not even going to say it again. She's training with Francesca and the crew down in Orlando. And has been doing so over the last few years. Has, I know, really become family for that family. And she is definitely impressive. She has turned out some incredible times already in tryouts this past fall. And I really expect her to challenge that time of 9.49 thrown down by Allie Fander.
At the Grand Champion race at the Raise the Roof Invitational back in January 1st through the 3rd of 2016, a couple months back, she was a Grand Champion there. So she's a top-level, world-level athlete, also on the world team, I believe, last year, the year before.
Yep, you bet.
So, I mean, the fact that she's able to turn and burn, look at that turn. That was amazing.
Oh, and she goes, 9.63.
That's not bad. I did not expect
that.
I thought it looked a little faster than that.
It did look a little faster. She looked very smooth, and she's not happy about it. I tell you what, we talk about hating to lose.
Yep.
A lot of athletes out there hating to lose more than Missy Perry.
Yep, absolutely. You can see in their body language and the way they carry themselves right after a race like that, when they don't think that they've achieved what they think they can. Even if it's, again, you hate to lose, but even if they don't win, they look at that time maybe and say, I wish I could. I already, by the time they cross the line, as soon as they end, they've already got 3 things they could have done. They would have changed. That would have given them that extra 1/10 or 0.15 of a second.
Well, I'll tell you what, this lady right here may be able to throw down a fast time, potentially dethroning Allie Fanner. So our time to beat is a 9:49. And Cheyenne Moses, one of our top sprinters, finishing third in that 300-meter event, right behind two phenomenal athletes in Francesca Bell and Aaron
contesting
Jackson.
with them. They had to pass her.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't a gimme.
That's right. They had to get around her to get those positions. So the fact that she's out here now doing her one lap sprint with no blocking and no passing and no issues, I wouldn't be surprised if she had an amazing time here. Not sure if it'll be on the same level as Allie Fanner, but it'll be pretty dead on close.
Absolutely, I agree 100%. And I think Shy's going to put down something that's going to please the crowd for sure. She's another hometown favorite from Auburn, Washington. Shy is a very talented athlete. She's a competitive cheerleader at her school. And she's also one of the fastest sprinters in the NSC. So as she crosses the timeline, see if she can crank it up. Look at how fast she's coming out of the corner.
The power is unreal.
So much power out of this young lady.
Oh, almost lost it there for a second.
Oh! Nope. Had that slip at the end. I think that cost her, Josh.
That slip at the end definitely cost you. And again, she's only been back in the scene about a year and a half or 2 years now. And at the line there, sometimes we decide, oh yeah, the Eagle Hawk's a good thing, and it is a good thing, but it's got to be timed just right. I think she hit it just a little bit earlier on that, and that cost her a good 10th there easily.
I agree 100%. And again, I think we talk about timed hawks. Well, Allie Fanner's hawk was pretty well timed, but she's still our race leader.
Perfect timing, as well as it was. Not only is she, she's got the leg length of her body. If you look at the way she's built, her leg length compared to her torso length, and the fact that she's so much taller, her legs are just shot out there for that Eagle Hawk.
She looked like she was shot out of a cannon for sure. Well, this young lady will certainly throw down a fast time. Aaron Jackson, one of the top sprinters in the world, and it doesn't matter what you say. She won that 1,000-meter event.
Oh, absolutely.
2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah. She won that 1,000-meter event. And then things happen at the world championship level, countries and egos and athletes, a lot of things happen. So you can't say that she's the world champion of that event. But you know what? She definitely should have been right there. She should have won that event.
Well, she's working on trying to be the fastest lady on skates tonight. Had a little bit of a bark there, but she's going to cross the timeline with a time up. 9.59. Allie holding off the big dogs right now.
Wow.
Our youngest athlete is certainly holding off some of the best in the business right now with that 9.49.
That's right. It's incredible that it's a surprise, I guess. I guess we didn't expect Allie, though. We didn't expect Allie to drop such a strong, fast time. So when you got women like Cheyenne and Aaron going up and falling to her, basically, it's unexpected, a bit of a surprise.
It also speaks to the depth of this league.
Absolutely.
Allie Fanner hasn't finished in the top 3 in either race.
Nope.
But is definitely in contention for at least a second spot if Francesca Bell is not able to lower that time of 9.49.
That's right. Francesca, you see her on some of the advertisings, and you see her on some of the pictures on NSC, and how smooth and technical she looks, and how level she is, and how efficient she is. If anybody's going to beat Allie, obviously it's going to be Francesca tonight, because she's
completely
just
agree.
A freak when it comes to speed skating.
I tell you what, if Jarrett Paul didn't already have the silky smooth title, she would be pretty fitting for that as well.
That's right. Well, they say there's Superman and Superwoman. Why can't there be Silky Woman? Who knows?
Yeah, I tell you what, she would be one of the ones in the running for that for sure.
Absolutely.
I know that crew in Orlando is cheering hard, getting ready to watch their girl race.
And didn't Francesca just make the move along with Brianna to Salt Lake City out there for ice?
Yep, she's out there in Salt Lake as well, pursuing her ice career. Oh my goodness, Josh, she looks faster.
Wow, it does. Every time we've said that, though, it hasn't come out well. But I'll tell you what, I think we're going to be proven wrong this time.
That might be the case. Let's see what Francesca's able to do. And she's going to run a time up.
9.41 dead on.
Oh my goodness. And she edges Allie Fanner out by 0.08 of a second, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
So we got Francesca Bell, and we'll make sure we catch up with her.
I thought it was a 9.41 as well. I forgot it was a 9.49. That's incredible. You're taking 0.08 of a second between the first and second. It's just unreal.
Unreal.
Wow. That's incredible.
Well, Francesca's got 2 wins under her belt for this evening.
That's
stamping her ticket to the Grand Champions race coming up here shortly.
And you see her dancing around. That's a bit of the athletic attitude. You know, again, these are all great athletes, but you know, when you win, you're proud of yourself and you show it there.
You know, tell you what, and there's nothing wrong with showing emotion.
Absolutely
That's one
not.
thing I love about this sport is you cross that timeline and you're excited.
Yep.
That's a great thing.
Absolutely.
You know, I think
you're excited. It shows the crowd how excited you are. Then they get excited.
Yeah, and I think too often in our sport that gets frowned upon almost.
Yeah, the celebration.
They're celebrating. No, I mean, they're not celebrating anyone else's loss. They're celebrating their own victory, and
Absolutely.
I think that's a pretty special thing to do.
Absolutely. You know, at the world outdoor level on inline, like track or road, they take parade laps.
Right.
What's wrong with that? That's never been frowned upon. That's never been looked down upon. So why not let these guys celebrate a bit? I think it's a great thing.
I agree 100%, and you know, everyone in our league seems to keep it within reason. I don't think anyone's out there showboating by any stretch of the imagination. So I think it's a pretty interesting thing to see, and definitely something really fun for our fans.
And like you said, you know, it's not necessarily that you're trying to throw it back in the other athletes' faces. You're just proud of yourself. You're happy with your performance. Not that you're trying to throw anyone else's performance in their face. It's just wanting to be excited about your own race.
Right, and as much pain and torture as these athletes put themselves through.
Yep. I did it for.
Oh, you exactly. You know all about it. It's all too familiar for you, and with all that work, all that training, all that stuff that goes behind the scenes, that opportunity to celebrate, I think, is much well deserved.
Absolutely. And they still go with class. That's what's in. They
Right.
still have so much class when they do.
Well, we're going to get caught up with some of our race winners here shortly. We're going to get caught up with Francesca Bell as soon as she gets done with her interview with Rob Skate, our in-house master of ceremonies. Pretty awesome crew we have here in the NSC, Josh, and I'm really pretty blessed to work with so many great people that are in our sport.
Absolutely. You know, I'd been to NSCs before as an athlete, but I never got to see how it worked behind the scenes. I never got to see how it worked, and now to be a part of the setup yesterday and coming in today and really doing a part of that, and now behind the scenes doing the commentating this time, it really opened my eyes. Really goes on an NSC like this.
No, and that's the thing. You know, it's a tremendous amount of work, but Miguel and I talk about it all the time. We would do this all the time. Just ask, because it's fun. And it's really fun. We really enjoy it. It is definitely a great way to continue to promote our sport and get this thing in front of people that have never seen it. Because I really believe that when people see this, they just go, wow, I'm coming back.
You know, one of our biggest sponsors out there, give it the floor.
Absolutely.
It's all about making the event and the racers that much better, that much more involved. Anybody's willing to do anything to make our sport, to show people that our sport is the level it is actually at.
100%, man. And we're going to catch up with Francesca Bell here. We've got Francesca Bell, our 1,300-meter champ and the fastest lady on skates. Francesca, man, I'm telling you what, we were watching these skate, and we go, boy, this is going to beat the time. And we just had a good feeling about it. How did you feel on the floor?
The floor actually felt pretty good during that 100. You know, I was a little worried because of how it felt before.
Sure.
So, you know, I just went in there, you know, kind of make it through the race.
Right.
Or actually the one lap. So I was pretty stoked on how it felt, actually.
Well, it looked really good, and obviously it got you a time fast enough to win. Talk a little bit about this year. This is your second year in the league, so this isn't your first rodeo. But you have some of these new athletes, you know, the Ali Fander, Cheyenne Moses. That's got to be really uplifting for you, kind of seeing some of these younger girls coming up and really trying to compete as well.
Yeah, you know, they kind of expressed to me how excited they were to be skating with me, and it's really humbling to be able to hear that from people who, you know, could beat me.
Well, not tonight.
So,
they haven't beat you tonight.
Not
that's
tonight,
for sure.
But, you know, they've been skating really well, and to have such a tight group of girls, you know, all of us are friends off the floor, competitors on the floor, so it's kind of a really cool dynamic within the girls.
Well, it's certainly been fun to watch. I know, you know, last year was the first year having women in, and this year it's almost like I don't remember what it was like to not have the women in.
Yeah.
You guys have been incredible in terms of athleticism, in terms of your character. How do you feel going in this Grand Champions race? You got you and Aaron. It almost seems like we've seen this before, right? The chess match between you two. How you feeling entering this last race of the night?
I'm pretty confident, you know, based on how I felt. Not really in the 13, but in the 1 and the 3, you know. even though Aaron still got me in the third, I still felt pretty decent. So, I'm not underestimating Aaron one bit, but I think it's going to be an awesome race.
I agree completely, Francesca. Congratulations.
Thank
You've had
you.
some tremendous success. You're a great ambassador for our sport, and I can't wait to see what happens in this 800-meter race coming up.
Thank you.
Any shout-outs you want to give to the fans at home?
Family, my whole team is just chilling at one of our teammates' house watching on the big screen. So, my brother for producing that awesome song that got me pretty hyped before the race. So, I just want to thank them all for being so supportive.
I was joking with the fans at home. I think your mom's probably going to kill me. I just butchered her last name completely. And
Pascarella.
I know it. And I butchered it.
Pascarella soon. Don't forget it.
And I just butchered it. So, Steph, I appreciate you not killing me in advance. And we're looking forward to seeing your kiddo race here just shortly.
Thank you.
Congrats, Francesca, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the setup. We are getting ready for the last race of the night. This is for all the marbles, the Grand Champions race. Our men will be first. We've got the showdown you've all been waiting for. Our sprint champion, Brandon Hall. We've got our endurance champion, Jarrett Paul. They've taken all the races in their respective divisions, and now it's time for them to do battle in the Grand Champions race. It's been an incredible night, but it all comes down to this, and I cannot wait to see what happens in both of these races. All right, Josh, we've been waiting for it. This is up for all the marbles.
Exciting times, guys.
Hopefully everyone's still got their popcorn ready because this is the show.
That's right. The Grand Champ, you can sit here and win these distances and say, I was fastest at the 1,000. But when you put a label on a race like Grand Champion of all distances,
right?
This is the midline for the sprint and the midline for the endurance. It's still long enough to put some hurt in these guys' legs, but it will never slow down from the start. It will not
slow down. This is going to be a fast race from start to finish.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I believe that we've had 3 former Grand Champions in the same Grand Champions race in Jarrett Paul, Justin Stelly, and Brandon Hall, respectively.
That's right. Justin Stelly, I remember seeing one a couple of years back actually that I raced in season 4, and he just took off from the front in one of them, just was gone. And it's just the most incredible thing to see. So the fact that he's got that in his back pocket,
right,
the ability to do that,
right,
you never know what might happen. It probably won't happen because Brandon Hall and Mo, and you've got guys, like Jarrett. There's no way that's going to happen this time, but it's available. It's possible.
It's definitely possible. It is definitely possible.
Brandon can't take off with 8 to go.
Right. No, you're exactly right. We've seen it happen before with Mo Hall, like you said, with Justin Stelly.
That's right.
It'll be really interesting to see those first 3 laps of the race to see who kind of gets out in front and who's going to control the pace and not hurt themselves in the process.
Exactly. You can see a race unfold from about the start-finish line off the start. You see a race already start to unfold. It's like, okay, because I know some of these athletes or we know some of these athletes, you're like, okay, Justin's in the back because he's going to do this.
Right.
Or Brandon's in the front because he's going to do this. Or Silky's in the middle or the back because he's going to do this. So it really is from the gun a very strategic race.
And, talk to the folks at home a little bit about how you personally might race a 800. It is a really weird distance. We talked about the 1,000 being a long sprint. Well, the 800, it's shorter.
That's right. The one NSC that I did get to race during my ice inline career, I raced the Grand Champions race, and I think I got 3rd, maybe 4th. But, to be honest, because I hadn't been at that level for that long, you don't really know how to race. I didn't know the racers, but you see these guys out here now. Myself, the way I would race it with you guys got Silky, you got Brandon, Silky can wind it up.
Right.
Brandon's an amazing racer. Zach, if he's out in front, he's another one of those wind-up
wild
guys.
Card.
If you give a chance, you never know. But if he takes that half of a second breath, that's when Mo throws the bomb. So I couldn't say how I would race sitting here now. You put me in the middle of that race, and I'll say, I would do this now, or I might do this now. But because there's so many possibilities and so many dynamic actions that can happen in every straightaway and every turn,
right,
you can't make a plan right now. Absolutely impossible.
It would be very hard to predict it.
Absolutely.
Well, we're getting some predictions from some folks at home.
Oh my goodness! Who else? Who else?
We've got Michael Cheek. He thinks Silky's going to take it, so that should be interesting. We've
confidence in our former.
That's right.
Our now technically, our interim.
Right.
Brandon's our interim grand champ, because Silky never got a chance to defend.
He never actually lost that black suit. So you're exactly right.
That's a lot of confidence, but it's warranted. It's a very warranted and understood confidence because Silky was never beat.
That's awesome. I see a couple of my players in the background there. If you guys look to your left on your screen, that huge gentleman with the purple and orange shirt on, that kid's a freshman in high school.
Wow.
He's my starting right tackle.
What is he, 6'2"?
He's about 6'5". He goes about 185.
Wow. Get that boy on some speed skates. You know, it's like the football players would teach, you know, they go to like ballet. Why don't have these guys speed skate? Get a little bit of agility and dexterity.
Well, that's one fun thing we got a chance to do this past week was the skate PE program. Brought it over to Stadium High School and got a chance for a lot of my guys to get after it. So it's pretty exciting to see a lot of these guys coming out supporting the sport.
Yep.
Obviously, the skate PE program is working.
That's right, absolutely. You know, and it might be a familiar face for you, but a lot of these are unfamiliar faces for me from your school, which is great to see.
Exactly.
You know, we got a chance to have the meeting with the athletes at your school, and it's great that you can kind of bring your life into speed skating and your speed skating, bring it into your life at work. You know, it's great. That's what's beautiful about speed skating is that it really can affect and influence so many things and so many people.
It really can, and like you said, it's just one of those things that when you're in it, it's hard to not love it. Boy,
absolutely,
it is something that is incredible.
It's almost
really
like an infection. It's hard to get rid of, you know?
Really hard to get rid of.
You know? So here we go for the ladies. You know, Francesca is obviously one of the favorites to win. Francesca or Erin, but again, Cheyenne, man, you cannot let her go.
Right, and you know
that's going to be fighting in there.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. You know, if she's anywhere around that top three, she's got the sprint to do it. Yeah. So we'll see. You know, I think Francesca's probably the favorite. You know, she has not lost except she's won 2 of the 3 events in terms of Grand Champions race.
That's right.
In fact, in Columbia, in our second event a year ago, Erin beat her in the other 2 races. She beat her in the 300, beat her in the 1300.
That's right.
And Francesca bounced back and was able to take the black suit. So
that's right.
This should be a very interesting race and exciting to boot.
And even because, you know, even though Allie was not in the top 2 or 3 in the first couple races.
Oh, and look at
that confidence.
Wow, Cheyenne Moses, she's trying to win the start at first. And she's going to pop in there in that top 3.
The confidence from that 100 meter might give Allie just what she needs to get that top 2, 1 or 2 spots there too.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And you watch Allie, she's skating from the back there in that 6th spot. Very smooth skater.
Still relaxed.
Very composed. Doesn't let the moment get too big.
That's right.
Missy Perry now taking the lead now. Picking up the pace just a little bit as they cross the timeline. Right. They're going to have 5 laps to go.
5 to go. A little unexpected to see Melissa Perry up there, but you know that might be one of the greatest moves. It's always great to start. Let's say with 4 to go, she sprints. It's always now that person has to get around you. First, second, and third, like Francesca Bell or Erin Jackson. Now they have to get around Melissa Perry. That might be the best thing for her to wind up.
Right. I tell you what, look at Mackenzie Brown sitting in that 4th spot.
Right. Being a sprinter in the next race.
Josh, I don't think this is what Erin Jackson had in mind in this race.
No, I don't think
Francesca
so either.
Gets a chance to wind. She's very hard to beat. She's going to cross the line. She's got 2 laps to go.
Melissa
Let's see if
created
she
that
can hang
gap.
on.
Melissa created that gap, and you know once Francesca went around and initiated the sprint, there's no way for Erin to get around and make the reaction.
But here comes Erin Jackson though. Erin Jackson moving to the 2nd spot now. There's a battle for second place, but Missy Perry says, I don't think so. And it looks like the teammates and training partners go 1 and 2. Erin Jackson that 3rd spot, but Mackenzie Brown, impressively enough, taking the 4th spot
as one of our sprinters. And, you know, I got to say, you know, not everyone notices, but now being a coach and a former athlete, you see, even though Francesca had about 5 or 7 meters on second place on Melissa, she never stopped to the end of that line.
No, absolutely not.
She probably knew in her heart she could stand up and roll around and put the hands up, but she knew that if something happened, that was going to cost her the Grand Champion. Nobody wants to lose the Grand Champion race that way.
Well, she is 3 for 4 now. Francesca Bell has officially won 75% of the Grand Champions races in the women's division. So the young lady out of Orlando, Florida, showing her stuff, showing that she is definitely the best on wheels.
That's right. Incredible, guys. You just saw some of the world's fastest indoor inline speed skaters duking it out in that first Grand Champions race of season 7. And that's just proof right there and showing right there what kind of a season we have ahead of us.
I'll tell you what, man.
No one expected Melissa Perry to be in the top 2 right off the bat. I mean, we always, you never know what's going to happen, but you have your favorites, and you think with Erin Jackson in there, and it being a short enough race, that you never know what's going to happen, but we didn't expect Melissa, and I think Melissa's going to be one of those top 2 or 3 athletes for the rest of the Grand Champions all year long.
I agree, man. I mean, this season, I really think you're going to see this level just continue to turn up a notch. It's kind of that way, right? You get to a competition. At the end of the competition, boy, those juices are flowing.
That's
you want to get back to training, whether you won or you didn't.
That's right. It's exponential. That's the best part about speed skating is us athletes, we feed off each other. Whether it's positive because you responded from your win and you keep building, or you lost and you want to respond to the other person's win and you just keep getting stronger and stronger. That's how the pack keeps getting faster and faster. The times have not stopped dropping since the mid to late 90s.
Right.
1/10 at a time or 100th at a time. So it'll never stop. And, there is that breaking point where you reach a speed where you can't go any faster, but then that just means the endurance athletes are going to be going that speed for longer.
Right. Well, you talk about the cream of the crop. They brought them out first, didn't they, with our 2 grand champions,
That's
Jarrett
right.
Hall and B. Rizzy Brandon Hall.
Are defending an interim grand champ.
You
posted
bet.
next to each other, and again, even though they love each other as athletes and as competitors, you can see the tension between. You see Brandon Hall staying back a bit, kind of like, I'm not even going to get on that level. I'm going to stay back here, do my thing. Silky looking straight forward, focus on what he's doing. That right there is that's just the you can cut the tension with a knife.
I'm telling you really can right now. And again, like you said, those 2 guys off the floor, they're buds. They're good friends. Those guys hang out.
Nothing wrong with a bit of a trash talking, but
right, yeah, exactly. Which any good friend does,
of course.
But when you get those 2 guys on the line next to each other, boy,
it's all business.
Right. You would think that this is two totally different guys that don't know each other and really don't like each other.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
Well, we've got a couple other guys that can mix it up in there with Wesley Gandy, Zach Sungyao, Justin Stelly.
A lot of these young
and
bucks
Steve
in
Carter.
here. And Steve Carter, our veteran. You know? And, Stelly's been there from the beginning, but Steven Carter was here before Stelly was even probably skating.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So he's been skating a long time. And
Carter's done nothing but do a phenomenal job here tonight in the sprint division, taking home 2 silvers.
Absolutely. Unreal. Just proof how strong he still is and how technical he still is.
And I wonder in a race like this, does Carter say, hey, I'm going to win the start and try to lead this thing?
Why not?
I'm going to try to control these young bucks.
Exactly. And because you've got the battle between Brandon and not many people saw that, but at the very last second before the start, Jarrett actually put his hand on the back of Brandon's suit right off the start, and it's kind of like, I'm right here, buddy. Right before the start, I'm right here. And you called it, man. Steven Carter at the front.
Had a little slippage there, and those top 2 guys go by him with Brandon and Jarrett. Wesley Gandy now moving up in that 3rd spot. They're going to cross the timeline with 6 laps to go.
And these guys
Jarrett Paul now going up. Wesley Gandy making a move in a 2nd.
These guys can't sleep on each other, You got Brandon and Jarrett always thinking about who's going to win the grand champion. But don't think that Wesley Gandy won't take it from both of you guys.
Looks like Brandon's having some slipping issues right now. But Jarrett Paul starting to pick up the pace.
Holy
smokes, they got 3 laps to go.
Cheek's calling it. I think Cheek might have called it.
Not so fast, my friend.
And a bit of a block a little bit there. Wes Gandy protected his position. It looks like Silky's going to walk away.
Yeah, he's going to walk away. But I tell you what, you hate to say this, but I think they might have missed that block pretty bad.
Absolutely, I think so too, man.
That didn't necessarily look very clean.
Nah, that didn't. It looked like, the call is if you change the track position by 1 the width of your body. And that was quite a change. Brandon's a very smooth skater, very smooth passer, and it was just.
Here comes Justin Stelly. Oh my
gosh!
Well, we know who won it, Josh. Silky Smooth.
Silky.
Jarrett Paul, he took it home.
Silky dropped the mic.
I tell you what, that was a mic drop if I've ever seen one. Silky proved that he took a couple seasons off, but he is still the grand champion.
That's right. Absolutely. Brandon had some bad luck in there, and you can call it as you like, but I'll tell you what.
Hey, you got to race it.
Silky still was walking away from Wesley even before he made the pass.
You're 100% right.
Brandon couldn't make the pass right off the bat, so that goes to show right there that even if let's say Wesley Gandy rode in, he still was walking away from those 2.
I don't think that was the difference by any stretch.
Absolutely
and Jarrett Paul, taking home the black suit.
Yep.
Only one of them gets to take it home.
That's right.
And tonight it's going to be number 20.
That's right. I'm sure Brandon's upset. And you can, you can say this and you can say that or who it was, but that's going to give him the hunger he needs to come back in the 6 or 7 weeks until our next NSC event to really, really just kind of get it back. He came in with a lot of confidence, and it was a little bit of trash talk, and he said, I got it. And that goes right there. He didn't get it.
Nope, didn't get it.
Silky skated an amazing race. He did the best race. His skated the best race. Absolutely. By protecting his position and going up and putting putting Wes Gandy between him and himself and Brandon Hall. So that was that's one of those things that you have these guys on the same level athletically or technically, but that strategy right there was what caused
that was the game.
Was what caused
the game right there.
to end for Brandon Hall.
I agree 100%. And again, Jarrett Paul taking home the grand championship.
Right.
What an impressive night of racing. He has not lost
the grand champ.
I mean, what an incredible night of racing. I mean, yes, Silky walked away with a little bit there. There was some things that happened. I don't know. I mean, there's some things that could happen different, but nobody was as good as Silky tonight.
Absolutely. No. End of the day, it's run what you brung. You can talk all the game you want, but whoever crosses the line in black and white, whoever crosses the line first, that's the winner, and you can't say anything else about it.
Nope, nothing said. And I tell you what, Jarrett Paul's got bragging rights for at least a little while.
That's right. And so does Francesca Bell, both of our grand champions walking away from that second place athlete, walking away and actually creating a gap.
Right.
Still skating to the line and proving that why they're the grand champion.
Exactly. And I tell you what, boys and girls that are watching from home, that's how you do it. You don't look around to see who's behind you. You finish through the line as hard as you can, and those two athletes were perfect examples of that.
Professionalism
on
wheels.
Exactly. Professionalism is huge in this game, especially when you win like they do, and they showed it. They showed it all the way through.
Absolutely.
I mean, from the beginning of the event to the end.
Absolutely.
And those two guys definitely deserve the title of grand champion.
Absolutely. And it's impressive, again, this being my first NSC in quite a while, to be involved in it, to be a part of, that battle, the gun, that battle between Brandon and Jarrett in the beginning throughout the stigma, who's going to be the grand champion, to see it unfold throughout the day. Up until the very, very last second, Brandon knew he was going to win. In his mind, until that last little bump there, he knew he was going to win.
Yep.
I guarantee once he passed Wes, he could have thought, I'm going to wind it up and get him.
I'm going to catch him.
And seeing it unfold the way it did, it's been a pleasure.
It really was, Josh. It's been a pleasure having you on the set with us.
Thank you.
We want to obviously give one more opportunity to thank our sponsors, Cato Modus, Pure Speed Skating Company. Again, we could not do this without our title sponsor. Couldn't do it without any of our sponsors, including Bones Bearings, Vi 13 Custom Apparel, as well as TLTF Manufacturing. Well, thank you guys so much for all of your hard work and dedication to the NSC. We're going to catch up with our grand champions on first the ladies' side. Got a chance to catch up with this young lady, but hey, we'll catch up with her anytime she wins.
Absolutely.
So Josh is going to go grab Francesca, and we'll get her on for some parting thoughts. Our three-time female grand champion now, the Orlando native, is taking home the black suit. So as we get Francesca on the set, Francesca Bell, my friend, excellent job racing.
Thank you.
I thought you set that race up very well. I thought you stayed out of trouble early. You saw your opportunity, you took it, and didn't look back. Talk us through it.
Well, in the beginning, I was trying to get a good start, get in a good position. So I think staying in the front was pretty much the best bet. Just trying to stay out of all the nonsense happening in the back. So
which was there was a lot of.
Yeah. So I'd pretty much just, like I said, try to stay in the front, and then with about maybe 4 or 3 laps to go, kind of pick it up a little bit if no one else did.
Sure.
So Missy picked it up. So
she did. She really did.
So I was pretty comfortable behind her and just set up for a pass and tried to make it.
Yeah.
Tried
and
to
you
stay
did.
on my feet. So
yeah.
That was pretty much it.
Well, I thought you skated a very intelligent race. I thought you did it in terms of making your moves. You pick and choose your moves well. This is an exciting time. You've literally won 75% of the Grand Champions races now. 75%. 3 of the 4 women's Grand Championships are owned by Francesca Bell. I mean, what is your motivation? Do you feel like just that hatred to lose really puts you through?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to know that you've trained pretty hard and you keep, pushing your body to new limits and then come here and pretty much lose. And it's really hard for me, and yeah, I'm just a sore loser.
Sure.
I'll admit it. And I just strive to do as best as I can to not lose in a sense.
Well, tonight you didn't lose a whole lot. You had 4 races you were part of. You won 3. I think you're doing pretty darn good for yourself. Congratulations on another huge win. I can't wait to see you again for the next installment of NSC so you can defend that black suit.
Thank you.
One more time, shout out to the people at home.
Shout out to the family watching, keeping up with me, texting me after every race.
Oh, I know, I've been texting with Mom.
Yeah, I love it. Just kind of keeps me pumped.
Well, you've got a great support system. I know they're probably cheering their butts off down in Orlando. Congratulations again on a great victory.
Thank you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Francesca Bell, I mean, you want to talk about class, you want to talk about professionalism. You would never guess that this young lady's 18 years old. I mean, we're talking class, we're talking intelligence. What a phenomenal athlete. Well, Josh, we're going to get a chance to catch up with Jarrett Paul here shortly.
Maybe I'll get a hold of him here, but I just overheard Jarrett out there talking to the crowd, and thanking them out there for coming out. That again, even as a champion or a loser, he's a class act. So it's impressive to see, man. It's really great, giving these athletes a platform to show not only the class and the speed and the quality of athlete we have in the NSC, but also off the track to the crowds, to the parents, to the skaters out here that are here, being so appreciative that we just want to help our sport grow. And then that guy right there will be one of our pioneers that make the sport an amazing platform.
Listen, and you watch these guys are getting done with the race. They're jumping into the crowd. They're hanging out with the fans. That's what this is all about. This
Absolutely.
is something that really has never been tried to be sold as a spectator sport.
That's right.
And, I mean, watch it. People want to see people race, and people want to see people going as fast as they possibly can on their own 2 legs. And,
That's right.
Tonight was a great example of what a great event looks like.
Absolutely. You watch speed skating, and again, putting yourself in the most awkward, odd position and trying to go as fast as you can. It's almost like a chaotic elegance.
Right.
Trying to a ballet on
controlled
the smallest.
Chaos.
Exactly, controlled chaos. And it's just it's a platform. It's a platform that will show the world how incredible an athlete can truly be on so many different levels in speed skating.
Well, Josh, it's been a pleasure having you on. I'm going to actually sign off. I'm going to let you interview Jarrett Paul for this final interview. I want to make sure you get your full experience on the commentary. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. No matter where you are tuning in throughout the world, we could not appreciate you more for tuning in here live from Tacoma, Washington at Tacoma Armory. I'm going to go track down your grand champion as Josh gives you some parting words.
Well, again, guys, I was didn't quite expect to get to commentate today, but it's been a great situation for myself, for Vi 13 as representatives of our sport, and to kind of give back to the sport, and seeing as Silky sits down here for myself and the company I work for, Vi 13, to be able to give back to a sport with people that are giving back already, like you are, Jarrett. I overheard you saying something on the end there, talking to Rob Skate, and how appreciative you were, and how much of a class act that our professional athletes really are. You see basketball players or football players and baseball players, they're cordial to some of the reporters and some of the press, but I got to say our athletes on this level are some of the most respectful and appreciative athletes to the crowds and to the spectators coming out here. Is there something that is it something that you were taught? Is it something that just kind of naturally happens, or why is it that you first off give back so much to the sport?
Well, the sport's just given so much to us. Seeing guys like you, yourself, Josh, and a lot of other guys coming up. Watching you guys race, and no matter how good or bad a race was, you guys were always respectful. Most of you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Most of the time, yeah. There's always instances, man. We get it. Yeah.
Of course, you can't help it every now and then. But, I think a lot of it attests to, we know a lot of the parents. We know a lot of the kids, and I think a lot of us realize the impact that we really have on the kids because they listen to everything that we
Absolutely.
say. You know, if they see us do something disrespectful, that means a lot of the people think that they can do it as well.
Absolutely.
You know, so I think realizing that really helps us keep us in check.
That's good because, you know, that's, again, like we've talked about, Thomas and I have talked about before he signed off all night, that's going to increase the level of the professionalism and the marketability of our sport, and that's what we want. We want to show the world how great of a sport it is. Not only is it dynamic, explosive, there's crashes, there's you know, trash talking like you and Brandon have had kind of all week.
Yeah.
But there's still the level of professionalism that some sports in the professional realm like basketball, baseball, football don't have.
Yes, most definitely. And I think there's a disconnect with a lot of those other sports because they are so big. You know?
Absolutely.
They're never, a lot of them aren't with the crowd. They don't know a lot of the people that are out there watching them. You
Absolutely.
know? And I think that's kind of where the separation happens.
Absolutely. So then let's go back to your race. You know, Michael Cheek, literally as you guys were getting called the line, and we were kind of, you know, Thomas and I were kind of talking about, you look even the friends off the track. You know, they got paired line 1 and line 2 against each other, and you know, I said you look at them. You know, Silky's just sitting there focused, straight forward. Brandon stepped back 4 or 5 feet. You can see how serious they are, and you know who's gonna win. We don't know, and you never know. Like Mo might throw a crazy pass and win, or you know, Stelly, who knows? And Michael Cheek texts Thomas and I both on a group text. He goes, Silky's gonna win, and it was just like mic drop. It's like, all right, you know, Cheek's been around the sport for so long. The confidence that he has in an athlete like you, and then because you had to take some time off for other reasons, and now coming back and defending and keeping your title, what do you think the key component in that race was for you? When did you know that was the time to take off, or when did you know that this was the right move, or was there a position or a time when it was like, this is it, now it has to happen?
Well, before going into the race, I kind of tested myself in the 1,000 and the 16 just to kind of see what I had in the
tank. A bit of a wind-up, yeah.
Exactly, yeah, and you know, in the 1,000, after I was chasing Stelly, I realized that I have about 5 or good 6 laps in me. You know, I can build it and still blast at the end.
Mm-hmm. So you knew even with that 5 or 6 wind-up, you still had a solid acceleration or 2 for the last lap.
Yeah, I knew I can at least blast up the straightaway once or twice coming into the last lap to try to keep off whoever I would need to.
Yeah.
Well, and it was obviously a hope because I know Brandon's got a phenomenal sprint.
Absolutely.
You know?
And him, let's say he was in your draft, him sitting in the draft might have pulled you along, or he might have you've been pulled along by you and saved enough of that energy to still throw the pass, even though you have enough in the tank.
Exactly. You know, and that's something that I was.
It's a risk.
Oh, it really was. It really was. But at the same time, I knew that if I sat behind him, I was taking a risk of getting bombed by the people behind me.
Absolutely.
You know, and the thing is I knew once he got up to the front and I saw him jam it up a few times, you know, I knew he was trying to conserve energy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
And I heard him say over there on the sidelines that, you know, his legs were hurting a little bit.
Ah,
you know?
that's one of the athlete area. Yeah, that's one of the athlete area things. Sometimes you got to be quiet and, you know, or not realize that maybe he was saying to one of the other athletes, I'm a little tired, you know, one of the other sprinters, you know, some of us athletes, being an ex-athlete myself, like, oh, you know, you say, oh, I'm a little tired today, even though you're feeling great.
Exactly.
But obviously there, you know, even if to say, because there was a questionable pass or a questionable call that happened with Wesley and Brandon.
Okay.
Even so, you were already 3 or 4 meters, excuse me. You were a solid 10 feet away, pulling on Wesley, and Brandon hadn't made the pass yet. So even to say that, you know, Brandon had a bad call or something might have happened, you were already pulling. You were already strong enough and walking away for the other top level athletes.
And that's something that I always worry about because I never want to win a race because somebody else got bombed behind
Absolutely.
me. You know, you always want to win against somebody that is on their best day, that is having the good day, and there's just no excuses as to why they couldn't have won.
Exactly.
You know, because a lot of the races that I have won, people always say, "Oh, you're lucky. Stuff happens behind you." You know, but at the same time.
But you put yourself in the right position. That's what matters the most.
Exactly. You
Absolutely.
know, you try to play everybody against each other because you know your strengths, you know their strengths, and their weaknesses as well.
And that goes to show right there that, you know, you have these athletes not just going out there putting on spandex and turning tight in a circle. These guys are out here planning and thinking, and it's being a student of your sport. You know, you know your competitors. And, you know, had Brandon, let's say, maybe his legs weren't hurting or they were, but let's say he was feeling amazing tonight. Who's to know? Who's to say? But you still would have known how to act and react around him had he been right there behind you.
Exactly. You know, I made sure that no matter what I did up front, that I had a little bit left in the tank. I never put it all out there. You know,
Absolutely.
Because you just never know. You have to save that last corner, the last straightaway.
Absolutely. It's a protection thing.
Most definitely.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, man. Congratulations on defending the title.
Thanks,
Shake
brother.
your hand. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Great job. Our grand champion going to NSC, season number 7. and event number 2 in a couple of months. Do you have any plans, training changes or ideas? Are you within a program now that you already know what you're going to do and nothing's going to change? Had you changed anything based on your win or a loss, let's say, or something would have happened, what are you going to go home and do now so these guys know what I don't need to know your training schedule, but what's your plan and your next step moving forward when you get home from NSC?
Really, it's just going onto the grind, man. Really starting my 5-6 days a week of training and trying to put in some 2-a-days and just really get my body where I feel it needs to be for outdoor nationals and then indoor nationals and then for
Absolutely.
the worlds.
Absolutely.
That's the main thing. I feel like if you're getting in shape for worlds, you're going to be in shape for everything
Absolutely.
else. So.
Awesome. Well, all right. Well, good luck. Have a great training session on the next couple of months, and we'll hope to see you here and defend your title again on NSC 7, event number 2.
Yeah, man, it's great to be back. And one more thing, once again, I want to shout out my sponsors, Adam Wheels, Adam Racing, helping me get to where I need to go.
Absolutely.
NSC for doing something absolutely amazing for us. Creating a platform, man. Once again, 513, man. Thank you guys.
You're welcome.
These are
you guys look amazing. It kind of looks like they're painted on you guys. It looks great, man. That's the point. We want to make sure you guys look as good as possible, and if we can be a part of it. Yeah, they're a little tight. I know.
But it's good, man. It's
awesome.
Good.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jared. Take care, man. Have a great night.
All right, take it easy, man.
All right, guys. That's the end of our season number 7, NSC event number 1 here in Tacoma, Washington at the Tacoma Armory. We thank you guys for joining us. Please follow us on Facebook. Like our posts, like our pages. We've got a couple videos that will be coming out. Again, Joey Mantilla, Olympian, was out there rolling around the center taking lots of GoPro videos, and we'll have some edited videos for you guys soon. Keep an eye out for that, and just keep training, guys. Have a good night.